The following is a PCN Sports presentation.
Hershey Park Stadium celebrating the 22nd anniversary of hosting the PIAA Football Championships. That tradition continues here, day one of this three-day football championship series from Hershey Park Stadium. It is the Farrell Steelers. They are your defending champions with a record of 12-2. The Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders, their record also at 12-2. This is the Single A championship game in the state of Pennsylvania. Very pleasant good afternoon and welcome to Hershey Park Stadium and the PIAA Championships. Mike Zambelli pleased to be joined by Jim Wills. Jim, we have three first-timers in this year's tournament, but in this first game here we have two programs that are very familiar with the surroundings here.
Yeah, no question about it. We got some veterans here, Mike, and they did a great job getting here. Farrell just here last year, won in the state championship, and Bishop Guilfoyle with a great run 3 years in a row a couple of years ago. Farrell
indeed is your defending champions. They came in with a 12-2 overall record, 13-2 if you include a forfeit win over Cambridge Springs earlier in the season. The Steelers are led by first-year head coach Anthony Pegues. He won this championship as a quarterback at Farrell, has an opportunity to join a very select group here with a victory, and it will not come easy. If they are going to be successful here today, both teams are going to try and rush the football. Let's talk about number 3, Anthony Stallworth.
Anthony Stallworth's had a great year, Mike. He's only a sophomore, but he's done a great job leading the team. 161 carries, 1,652 yards, and 16 touchdowns on the season. He's part of that tremendous backfield. They call him Thunder, and Jordan Harrison is the Lightning. So they have two guys in that backfield that are dynamic.
Emotional win last week against Clairton, 13-10 the final. Turn our attention now to the District 6 champion Marauders. 12-2 beat Lackawanna Trail in a hard-fought game, 11-7. That really epitomizes their entire year. Justin Wheeler is their ninth-year head coach. He stands on the verge of career win number 100. It would certainly be a special place to get it. Fourth appearance for them overall, coming in the last 6 years. Your 2014, 15, and 16 champions in this classification. Well, if you want to establish the run for the Marauders, that's going to mean Keegan Myrick.
Yeah, Myrick's just been a workhorse for him all year, Mike. He leads the team, 243 carries, 1,695 yards, and 23 touchdowns. He's done a little bit of everything for him, played quarterback as well, so he's done a lot this year, but he really runs the ball effectively.
Yeah, it's been a gutty effort by these guys, and we'll talk more about that as our afternoon progresses. Road to the championship, or these two programs. Farrell, of course, located near Sharon, Pennsylvania, serving parts of Mercer County, located on Romer Boulevard, about a 263-mile trip here to Hershey on I-80 East. If you come that way, a little over 4 hours of travel time. For Bishop Guilfoyle, a little bit shorter trip, located in Altoona. The school was founded in 1922, located on Pleasant Valley Boulevard in Blair County. About 144 miles here to Hershey, or a little bit better than 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and a half, depending on the time of day that you would travel. Take a look now at the road to the championship for both these programs here. For Farrell, it started with a win over Tussey Mountain, 60-44, Cottersport 28-0, and just an emotional win last week. We'll talk more on that against District 7 champion Clairton, 13-10 the final last week. For Guilfoyle, beat Salzburg, Junie Adavawa, Lackawanna Trail, last year's runner-up, 11-7 in the semifinals.
You look at those two semifinal games for Guilfoyle. They held Lackawanna Trail to 4 downs inside the 5-yard line. And if you look at Clairton, you're going to look at a situation where they had 5 turnovers and stopped themselves 4 times. So they really did a good job of being defense by Farrell in that game last week.
Well, two very low-scoring games in the semifinals, and Jim, we're going to get a weather report coming up in just a moment. You get the sense. Talked about being able to rush the football here this afternoon. That is going to be paramount for these two very proud programs.
No question about it. Of utmost importance here, passing the football will not be one of the options that you really want to go to here this afternoon. The wind is too much of a factor, as it usually is here at Hershey, but today it is really extraordinary. So I think running will be the key.
It was interesting to watch the folks at Guilfoyle kind of meander around down there when they came on the field. Haven't been here in a couple of years since winning those 3 consecutive state titles. It all looked familiar to them.
Yeah, it never gets old, and that's the thing. You love coming back, and you know those feelings you had when you were here before. And for Farrell, it was just last year, so those feelings are still in their minds.
Well, we watched the teams warm up just a moment ago, and Farrell has made their way out onto the stadium surfaces here. This is the 32nd edition of the PIAA playoffs, all started back in 1988, and we have seen our share of superb athletes and just outstanding teams. This is a very intriguing matchup. When you talk with both coaches, the number one thought on both their minds was the play of their respective lines, both on offense and on defense.
Yeah, for Farrell, they have 3 offensive linemen coming back from last year, and when you look at Guilfoyle, their defense has always been their mainstay, and they have a couple of defensive guys that have really done a great job all year. So the line is going to be big in this ball game.
How much do we factor in, Jim, 2015, Bishop Guilfoyle beating Farrell by a count of 35-0? How much of a revenge factor did you get a sense might play into today's game?
Yeah, it could be a little bit of a factor. They're familiar with him from that point before, but the thing of it is, these guys are a lot older, and a lot of things have happened since then. So I think maybe it'll be in the back of their minds, but not in the forefront. I think for Farrell, they still have that taste from last year's happiness, and they'll be really ready to go.
Yeah, this is their 6th appearance overall, and of course they have the dubious distinction. We're going to see a mighty Southern Columbia team tomorrow. They beat the Tigers in back-to-back years when Coach Pegues, it would have been his senior year and then the year after he graduated, 95-96. Back-to-back wins over Southern Columbia. Not a lot of programs can boast about that.
Well, there's not a lot. He's found a way to beat Jim Roth, and that was 2 years in a row. It's really, he's got to be a celebrity when you look at it that way. They really found a way in those 2 years in 95 and 96. So interesting. They didn't score a lot of points, but they did a good job of beating Southern Columbia, and that's something a lot of people haven't done.
Well, and we talked about Guilfoyle, and they're tough there. There's Coach Wheeler there, and what a gutty effort, and I think it's the optimum word to use with them. How many programs have we talked about on this stage that have gone through 4 quarterbacks? They played a 4th-string quarterback throughout the course of this year, and lo and behold, they're playing for a state championship here.
Yeah, and as he said to us before, that the year that they really didn't think that they'd be in this position that they are, but it was up to the credit of the kids, and they did it.
All right, we're moments away from kickoff. We'll send you down to midfield for our opening coin toss.
Number 45, McClure.
Farrell won the toss and will receive.
Prior to kickoff, we ask you please rise. Gentlemen, if you please remove your hats. We'd ask all military personnel, active or retired, if you please render a hand salute as we honor the United States of America. Salute its leaders and members of the armed forces with the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner, to be sung today by Tri-Valley High School students Maya Aweri and Jensen Bolich. Ladies and gentlemen, we present with pride and much gratitude our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
table is set for a terrific single-A championship game. Steve Degler now joins us down on the sideline. Steve, it is a blustery day. How does it factor into the two approaches for these two teams?
Well, Mike, it's going to be a major factor. Neither team throws the ball a whole lot, but certainly the passing game will be affected, and especially special teams when it comes to kicking, it will be a major influence there. As you look at it, the wind is blowing down the field from left to right, but if you look at the flags atop the stadium, they are actually blowing across the field from the near side to the far side. It's going to be such a factor. We talked with Anthony Pegues. If it's late in a first quarter or third quarter situation and there's a punt to be had, look for the coaches to maybe call a timeout to take advantage of the win situation, guys.
Boy, what a really good point, Steve. We've been here for about 2.5 hours. Everybody's trying to figure out what way the wind is blowing. As you are watching live on the Pennsylvania Cable Network, predominantly from your left to right, shooting towards the end zone corner if you move in that direction. So we'll see how that all plays out. Both coaches, as you get a look at Justin Wheeler, 9th year, 99 and 21, 1991 grad of Penn Cambria High School, and he went on to receive his degree at Penn State University. 1996 was a walk-on for Joe Paterno. Over on the other side, it's Anthony Pegues in his first year for Jared Samuels. 1996 Farrell grad. He was part of that 95 state championship team that beat Southern Columbia. Went 2 years to Grambling before transferring to Slippery Rock, where he graduated there in 2002. So the table is set. Farrell won the toss, elected to receive. Deep back is Taden Strickland, along with number 9, Jaden Harrison. And getting ready to get things underway. They're not even going to try to put the ball on the tee without a holder. Is Devin Wyant. Wyant has been a big story, returned after a broken collarbone to kick a huge 20-yard field goal in their win last week. Off we go for the PIAA Single-A Championship. And there you see that swirling wind. This is Bryce Butler. And Butler first met at the 10 and will be brought down. Terrific special teams work by 21 J.T. Johnston.
This is going to be important, as Steve said. Special teams are going to be a big factor here today. That ball is going to stay up in the air and do a lot of different crazy things. So you got to have your efficiency on special teams.
Well, the other thing, too, is I think the use of obviously having good field position will play a role as well. Raymond Raver Jr., the 5'10", 175-pound senior quarterback, 13 games. You saw his numbers. He's completed 59% of his passes, but probably, Jim, there's where he's most dangerous. 94 carries, 590 yards, brought down there by number 50 defensive tackle Adrian Johnson.
Adrian Johnson did a nice job getting in there early. He's the guy that tackled the Lackawanna Trail guy for a safety last week.
Well, here is the Farrell offense. Stallworth, Stewart, Raver, Butler, Harrison. They call them Thunder and Lightning, as Jim talked about Hilton. But here's where they'll earn their pays. Satterwhite, Williams, Hobson Jr., Daniels, and Hobson. The two Hobson boys are not related. Couple yards on first down. Second down handoff is to number 3. That is Anthony Stallworth. He's Thunder in their attack, only a sophomore. Met immediately by number 1, Andrew Janaszak.
Averaging 119 yards per game, 1652 on the year, as we said. He's done a great job from that backfield spot.
Well, here's a look at the defense now for Bishop Guilfoyle. Janaszak, who just made that play. Myrick is the two-way guy. Rother, Nagola, Johnston, Holdman. He's one of the guys that actually wound up playing quarterback for him. McCloskey, Johnson, Maloney, Donahue, and Fox. And they are really good defensively. They give up 19.7 points a game, but are a plus 19 in the turnover margin. Fighting for first down yardage here is Stallworth. And this could be a big spot. He's going to be finally brought down by Adrian Johnson, the defensive tackle.
They sent guy in motion, and then they went in the opposite way. You're going to see it right here. They had the motion man going, and then they had the opposite run going. But a nice job of getting away from that first tackle.
How about here, Jim, going on it on 4th and less than 1 from your own 19-yard line. The quarterback sneak. Not a lot of movement there. They didn't need much. It was less than a yard. Again, number 50 was there, Johnson, to try and plug up that hole. Oh, boy. Already, huh? First of 6 games we have already. We're going for it on 4th down from inside our own 10, our own 20.
No question about it. Playing with house money there, and they just said, well, we're here, we're going to try it, so they did.
And Jim, I really think those are some of the decisions. I think there's a lot on both coaches, and they both talked about it. Playing to win. When are we going to punt? Maybe when do we go for it on 4th down? I mean, just a big decision early in this football game, and their offense got just enough to move the markers. Running play off left tackle and trying to break loose. This is Jaden Harrison. He is lightning in the double duty backs. The 2 1,000-yard rushers, 1,001 yards. Second on the team, brought down by number 13, Cooper Rother.
You see a good job inside by number 75. That's what you're going to see, Melvin Hobson. He's done a nice job of opening up that hole, and that's going to be the key. These offensive linemen are going to be very, very suspect here this afternoon to opening up these holes, and that's what they want to see, that offensive line play.
I got a sense Rother may have saved the touchdown there. Fresh set of downs here on 1st down. Here is Stallworth fighting to get to the outside. Gets a beautiful block on the edge. And is tripped up and brought down by Keegan Myrick.
Number 80, Hayden Fox, had the corner on him out there for Bishop Guilfoyle, but couldn't make the stop. And once you get past that corner, then you're dealing with that speed. You're going to see it right here as he comes up. He has a hold of him, but he just can't get him enough as he's going to get to the outside and get that alley up the sideline.
Steelers averaging 38.5 points per game. They have rushed for 55 touchdowns on the year and passed for 16. So, again, just to reiterate our point, these are two teams that, really are here on the strength of those O-lines and their ability to rush the football, and we're seeing it here with Farrell. If nothing else, they've improved their field position here.
Yeah, they've just done a nice job of, chugging and moving those chains, which is what they want to do right now. They want to establish rhythm. There you see Coach Pegues. He was the offensive coordinator the past couple of years, moved up to that head position, and he's still calling the plays right now for the Steelers.
Tell you what, he wears a lot of hats there for Farrell. He's currently in his 3rd week as the athletic director at his alma mater, and is also the head of maintenance, and yes, he is the head football coach. Handed off this time to Harrison. Harrison fighting for some yards, and he is going to get it into Guilfoyle territory before he's run out of bounds by Myrick.
Again, it's about contain if you're Bishop Guilfoyle, and they're losing contain on the corner. That's the key. You're going to see it right here. And here's contain. You want to contain him on the inside. They lost contain, and then he got to the outside, did some good things, got some good yardage.
Boy, Myrick covered an awful lot of ground to get there. Well, one of the concerns that Justin Wheeler had was that big offensive line that Farrell has, and they are taking a grip of this football game on their opening possession. Football spotted at the 43, motion man, and getting it on the speed sweep is Brian Hilton Jr., and he's going to be thrown for a loss. There's Yanishak back there in the backfield.
Yeah, he's done a great job. The coach, quote Wheeler, he's been the stalwart for us on D all year. As you can see, he goes off his block, sheds a block, and goes right upfield. 27
tackles for loss. He chalks up number 28. Second best on the team. He leads the team in sacks with 19. He's recovered a team best 3 fumbles as well. Loss of about 5. Moves the football back to the 49-yard line. Direct snap. They'll stay with the running game and a good opening right side for Stallworth. He gets the 5 back plus about 2 before being brought down by number 74, Jack Donahue.
Jack Donahue has 77 tackles on the season, 5 tackles for loss and 2 interceptions. But the thing of it is they're getting penetration up in that front area, Mike. That line's doing a good job of getting that initial push.
Coach Pegues told us he calls the plays offensively. I'm guessing he's not even thinking about throwing the football right now. Working, we think, into that wind, which has predominantly been whipping around. They'll keep it on the ground once again. And Stallworth fighting for a couple of yards, going to bring up another 4th down.
Well, it's interesting. He talked to us before the game, Mike, about how when they were here in 2015, they put the ball up a couple of times in weather like this, and they got intercepted. So they don't want to set their kids back right at the beginning of this game. So they want to run and grind it out on that offensive end.
Brady Pathel in on that last tackle, number 76. The 6'5", 300-pound senior is going to Robert Morris. So second time of this opening possession, and again, Farrell lining up to go for it on 4th down, but not before Bishop Guilfoyle calls for and gets a timeout. Timeout comes with 6:42 to go in this opening quarter. This is the game's first possession.
I think they want to call timeout there, Mike, because they're getting confused with the motion and the different shifts that Farrell's doing right now. And I think Justin Wheeler wants to talk to his defensive guys about, taking a look at what your keys are. Don't worry about the different shifts that Farrell's putting out there right now.
Farrell in this championship game for a 6th time. As you get a look at the last time they met, this is highlights from the 2015 championship, which was won by Bishop Guilfoyle 35-0. Farrell had just one loss in that game. Jared Samuels was the head coach. At that time, Alex Myers was one of their key players.
A lot of turnovers in that game produced a lot of offensive firepower for Guilfoyle. Plus, they just, they had a couple of interceptions, and they just did a great job of really bulldozing people over. And they had some really, really big-time players on that group.
They certainly did. Junior Evan Chadbourne, Junior Josh Tribus, Senior Sam Keating, Junior Luke Frederick. You saw them on those highlights. There we go, lined up to go for it on 4th down for the 2nd time in this possession. And this time they need a healthy 4 yards, going on a long count. Fake the speed sweep, hand it off to Stallworth. Stallworth is not going to get there, and the Guilfoyle defense, led by number 57, Cameron Maloney, will hold.
Good job by Johnson again on the inside, number 50. You're going to see him do a good job, as long with Zach McCluskey from his middle linebacker position. McCluskey comes up and just hits him head on, and that's the thing that he's done such a great job with all year long.
Well, 7 times this year, this Guilfoyle defense has held an opponent to 7 points or less, and you certainly get the sense that this has the makings to be a low-scoring game. And there you see Guilfoyle now breaking huddle for the first time. And a full house backfield, and off they go. First run of the ball game by Keegan Myrick. He is met first by number 20, Tyree Hammonds.
Hammonds does a good job, 103 tackles, 2nd on the team, and 1.5 sacks on the season. Comes up there very, very quickly from his linebacker position.
Well, we saw Myrick already make a couple of tackles defensively, 110 yards a week ago, and rushed for their only touchdown in their 11-7 victory over Lackawanna Trail. 2nd down, 8. Aaron Snap, nice job handling it by Connor Kiesewetter, 26 on the tackle. Savion Thomas.
You're going to see number 52 as well, Dwight Ravenshaft on that stop as well.
Here's the Guilfoyle offense. Yanishuk will turn around. Connor Kiesewetter, the quarterback. Myrick, their leading rusher. Homan, he played some quarterback earlier. McCloskey, Edwards, and then their big line. Butler, Conagy, Donahue. Play action, looking for our first pass of the afternoon. And getting it downfield, it is complete to number 3, Keegan Myrick. Bryce Butler in coverage.
It's 21 receptions on the season for him, 243 yards. But this was great job by the quarterback getting out of the pocket and getting himself upfield and available to do that.
So taking advantage of, we think, that wind blowing behind him, at least across the field in that direction. Certainly not like trying to throw it the other direction. Kiesewetter played 10 games, so that injury costing him about a handful of contests throughout the season. Go to the speed sweep here to Myrick. And he's going to be chopped down quickly after little or no gain by Adrian Daniels.
Well, it's going to be no secret what they want to do. Both teams want to run the football, and you see it right there. It's just going to be what position they put their guys in. That time Myrick in the slot and came back around.
Well, when you talk about defense, there are a few who've done it better than this group. 8 consecutive, or 9 consecutive, if you will, shutouts at one point. Jackson, Butler, Strickland, Samuels, Hilton Jr., Odom, Hammonds, Ravenscraft, Satterwhite, Hobson Jr., and Hobson again, the 2 at the bottom, not related. Gain of about 3 on first down. This play will be blown dead before it gets started.
Again, trying to give them different looks, trying to shift
We
people
have a dead
around.
ball, false start, offense, 5 yards, still second down.
Officiating crew out of District 4, Francis Snyder, your referee, Troy Hickman, William Ririck, Lincoln Kaufman, James Schreiner, R. Scott Schellig, and Jeremiah Johnson is your back judge.
Mike, you were talking about that defense for Farrell. In a 9-game sequence, their offense scored 392 points, and they didn't give up a point. So that's how impressive they are defensively.
Trying to set up a screen, and it will be complete to the tight end, Hayden Fox. Fox will be chopped down about 2 yards shy of first down yardage by Anthony Jackson.
Only his 6th reception of the season. He came in with 5 for 67 yards. That's the thing, a little tight end release right here. A real safe play in this win. That's the other thing. Not a long pass and then right down the middle of the field.
Well, I think we quickly see both these coaches trying to play with the weather conditions that Steve Degler mentioned earlier in the broadcast, with that wind behind them now, throwing and completing a couple of passes. Direct snap here goes to Myrick, but he is going to be stopped. I don't think he got back to the line of scrimmage. First man there, number 52, was Dwight Ravenscraft.
There you see Coach Pegues. He's done a great job there taking over for Coach Samuels, who was there last year. We said Coach Samuels has moved on to Teal College, where he is a coordinator there at Teal.
Located in Greenville, Pennsylvania, special teams coordinator and defensive line coach. So first quarter here, third time we're going to see these teams attempt it on fourth down, and that's not going to work. 42, Zach McCloskey is going to be upended by Anthony Jackson, and the Farrell defense will take over on downs.
Anthony Jackson with 67 tackles on the year, comes flying off that corner, did a nice job of smelling that play out. But again, as I said, on both sides, pretty much you know who's going to run the football. So good job by the D.
So both teams some success moving the football, running out of downs. Football spotted at the 35-yard line for Farrell. Raver takes the direct snap. Hands to Stallworth, who finds about 6 yards off a right tackle. Brady Bethel, the first man there. These Steelers lost their first 2 games of the year to University Prep 14-12, and then were shut out at Wilmington. The Greyhounds beating them 40-0. But you mentioned then 8 straight games where they outscored opponents 390-0. Shutout after shutout, and it became a rallying cry for these guys, obviously defensively. On 2nd and 4. Running room once again for Stallworth.
They had to replace a lot of guys in that backfield last year, a lot of Division I guys that they ended up with in that backfield last year that were very, very productive and really did a great job in this game last year against Lackawanna Trail. And Stallworth has come in and really done a nice job. They were backups last year, both in the backfield with him and Harrison, but boy, they've come along strong here this year.
Well, you're talking about guys like Christian Lewis, who rushed for 249 yards and 5 touchdowns in last year's win. Kyle Wright, the quarterback, rushed 9 times for 129 yards and a couple of scores. Oh, by the way, he was 4 for 4 passing for 111 and another touchdown. Continue to try and work on the ground. There is a penalty marker down as Stallworth was able to get to the edge. But the flag thrown in a direction you might assume this to be against the Steelers.
Again, Hayden Fox trying to get that number 80, trying to get that contain on the edge, which is where the Steelers are attacking right now. He's going to have a lot of work here this afternoon.
Needless to say, penalties, negative plays of any kind in this game could be detrimental to either team's opportunity to win this football game. That'll be the first flag against the Steelers.
Holding, offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, repeat first down.
You're going to take a look here. You're going to see it on that right side where the hold takes place. You're going to see right about there where that hold is taking place, and that was impeding the progress. So good call by the officials.
Steelers riding a 13-game winning streak. District 10 champions. Penalty moves the ball back, 1st and 27. That was Harrison getting the call and could not outrun Zach McCloskey.
McCluskey just does such a great job. 131 tackles on the season, 4 tackles for loss. You're going to see a good job here of stripping first, but then again, McCloskey with his recovery time gets over there and makes the deal happen.
Well, number 42 was instrumental in that final play a week ago. He recorded a safety. He was the first man there to, and you know, when you're winning a game 11-7, you could get 2 points from your defense. And McCloskey was the first man there to record a safety, which went a long way in their win a week ago. Harrison gets the call again. A.T. Johnston.
A.T. Johnson's done a nice job here so far, filling from that outside linebacker position. 57 tackles and an INT on the season for him as well.
3rd down and long. These are some dangerous scenarios. Their first quarter clock racing towards and now under 20 seconds. And just think patience here in these scenarios. Raver has yet to attempt the pass. And he's going to let this time run down. It's exactly what Steve Degler talked about in terms of kicking into or kicking with. They actually snapped it for some reason.
That's the end of the quarter.
Well, and it happened after the quarter had ended, so they showed the patience. When we return, they'll have the advantage of the wind, if you will. No score. We've played one in the PIAA Single A Championship game.
This is Harrisburg and Hershey, West Shore and Wyomissing, Lancaster and Lingelstown. This is hard-working people, growing families, and Friday night lights. This is hope, heart, and heroes. This is our community at its best. This is the health we need to live the way we want. This is Penn State Health. Learn more at thisispenstatehealth.org.
These days, life is busy, but amazing. From the sci-fi brilliance of technology to the existence of toast, we move at a crazy pace until this happens. Time for MedExpress. Walk right in, get the care you need, and get right back at it. MedExpress, because life is urgent.
Nike reminds you that no matter what you've accomplished, your biggest competition is yourself. Your work is never finished. Nike is proud to support the PIAA Football Championships.
For over 25 years, PCN has brought viewers across the Commonwealth inside the nation's largest indoor agriculture showcase, the Pennsylvania Farm Show. Every year, our coverage continues to grow. See it all and more with PCN's coverage of the Pennsylvania Farm Show, January 4th to the 11th.
Scoreless duel through this opening quarter. Windswept Hershey Park Stadium. Farrell now turns and moves the other direction and will have the wind behind them. They have not yet attempted a pass, and that might change right here, or will it? Raver tucks, runs. He's got a long way to go, fighting into Guilfoyle territory, but he's going to just get back to the original line of scrimmage and is brought down by Ryan Nagola.
Yeah, he's done a nice job carrying the ball. As we said, 94 carries on the season, 590 yards, but it's going to be not enough for that first down.
And it looks like it will bring out their punting unit. Brian Hilton Jr., a two-way starter, handles their punting duties. It is not something that is their forte. It'll be the first punt of the football game for either team. And deep to recede is the do-everything dual performer Keegan Myrick. And the ball caroms around, will be down at the 15. Let's go down sidelines with Steve Degler. Steve, you found a familiar face running on the sidelines.
Well, Mike, we actually could have some Pennsylvania high school history here today. Farrell head coach Anthony Pegues is trying to do that today. Eric Kasparovich was the first to win a PA title as a player and as a head coach. He led North Hills to the 1993 4A title and then coached Pine Richland to the 2017 6A championship. Pegues is hoping to be the first to pull off the championship double at the same school. As you mentioned, he quarterbacked Farrell to the 1995 single A title over Southern Columbia. That was the first of back-to-back titles for the Steelers. They're looking for a second straight today as well, and if they get it, some history for their head coach with that rare double in Pennsylvania.
Football is loose, and it looks like Farrell may have had a shot at it. I think it was Bryce Butler who had the opportunity to come up with that fumble recovery, and they do indeed.
Well, you're going to see a hit here as you're going to see a nice hole opened up the offensive line, but that ball just popped out immediately. And then a good job of covering it up by Farrell. Great job of him, Butler, coming up with that ball. Very good job by the Steelers, and a big break right here at this ball game.
These two teams have been great in the turnover ratio. For Farrell, they were a plus 29. For Bishop Guilfoyle, a plus 19. Jim, by the stat sheet that I was provided by Bishop Guilfoyle, that is only their second lost fumble of the entire season. And now a great opportunity here, sudden change, and into the secondary goes Stallworth. Stallworth fighting towards the end zone. They're going to rule him out at about the 1.
Great job going on that offside there, not going to the power side, the right side, going to the offside, the left side. Got a good block off the corner, and he did a lot of this on his own. You're going to see it right here. He's got a good block off the corner by Melvin Hobson. That's what you knew they were going to go on that side because he's their best lineman. And then he gets that corner and almost gets it into the end zone.
Diving towards that end zone. Now the quarterback keeper, still no signal as Farrell is on the board first. The arms go up in the air for the referees. Touchdown, Steelers.
Great job on the quarterback keeper. We talk about that all the time, Mike, how that's become like a lost art. And a nice job there by the middle of that offensive line. He gets a little push from his running back as well and gets it in from the 1.
Ravers with his 9th rushing touchdown of the season. Christian Hartley is the holder. Long time to get that kick away, but it is up and it is good, and you just get the sense that there's nothing, Jim, easy on a day like this when weather is such a factor. And Farrell taking advantage of the turnover to get on the board first.
Well, you knew, Mike, it was going to come down to a special teams play or a turnover some way, somehow, an interception or a fumble. And, of course, it came down to that fumble there right away. And that's one of the very rare fumbles, as you said, they gave up all year. And that was an opportunity for Farrell to do what they need to do. And you're going to see it right here. A tremendous hit from the outside by number 20, Tyree Hammonds, caused that fumble. And then you're going to see the big run by Stallworth to get him right down to the 1 yard line as well. And then you're going to see the quarterback keeper. Good job by the middle of that offensive line. That's going to be the key all afternoon. Take advantage of turnovers.
Yeah, just 9 turnovers by Bishop Guilfoyle all year long. Mentioned the 1 fumble, 8 interceptions. So they were a plus 19 in the turnover ratio. And that's a number that I think we're all accustomed to. Teams that get this far in a tournament and play for a state championship obviously do a good job in that scenario. And boy, a rare miscue by that Guilfoyle offense.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, you're going to see both teams are like ball control offenses. Bishop Guilfoyle as well did a great job. They're a ball control team. They used almost the whole third quarter and part of the fourth quarter against Juniata Valley in that semifinal game. So the thing of it is, or the quarterfinal game, I should say, the thing of it is, you know, when you get a turnover and you get that little bit of real estate to get yourself into the end zone, that's a big advantage for either team.
Farrell first downs in that first quarter, 5-1 with an advantage there. 15 rushes, 84 yards, 5 for 2 yards. Passing for Bishop Guilfoyle in that first quarter, 31 yards, but unable to take advantage. Myrick deep to receive. Hilton the kicker, end over end. Myrick on the run. Breaks it off to the right side, and he breaks through that first line. So Myrick with a nice return gets his team out across the 40-yard line, where he is tripped up by number 10, Lamont Samuels.
You're going to see a nice little wall form in that middle, but he goes to the right side, does a good job of making a move right there, and gets himself up there. Good field position. Again, special teams going to be a big factor. When you can get good field position like this and you're a ball control offense, that's a very big key.
Well, we talked about Myrick and just a jack of all trades for this program. Last week he had 2 of their 3 interceptions against Lackawanna Trail, so we've seen his activity defensively. Special teams, and he'll line up as the deep back here on 1st and 10. Keeper, and the quarterback still has the football. That is Myrick, who lined up and took the direct snap. And he is going to rush. They'll spot him down for a gain of 9.
He's had a knee injury this year, and it stymied him a little bit, but the fact is, you can see right now he's doing a nice job. Really isn't stymieing him at all here today from the kickoff return in that position right there. And as you said, Mike, he's been the jack of all trades for them all year long.
Now Connor Akizu-Wetter now back in as the quarterback. The junior, of course, suffered that injury earlier in the year, and it allowed Myrick to become a quarterback. Adam Chadbourne at one point served as their quarterback, and they even put Sam Holman in to start at quarterback, the starting wide receiver and strong safety. And Coach kind of rolled his eyes. He says, these guys were amazing. He said, I'm putting guys in at quarterback who never played the position in their careers, and we were being successful. We just found out a way to grind out a win. We reloaded for the next game, and lo and behold, here we are in Hershey playing for a state championship.
They even ran the Philly special that they called the Holman special with him in the lineup. So they've had a lot of fun things happen, and they've had a lot of interesting things, and that's just the grit of this group. You know, as he said, Coach said, they really weren't thought to be in this position here today, and they've done it all on their own. Very good job.
Well, they're doing a lot of changing around here. This is something that's a little old school lineup there, huh? On 3rd and 1, they squeeze out 2 to move the chains. I think he got that formation off a...
The wide receivers were the only people who didn't move on that formation right there.
And they will convert, have the football into Farrell territory. First man there defensively was Anthony Jackson.
To tell you, the efficiency of Merrick, Mike, he played one play of defense versus Juniata and had an interception. So, I mean, you can't play without him. I mean, he was injured there. Offensively, he couldn't play, but one play defense, and he has an interception. So he's just a jack of all trades for them.
Takes the direct snap here and fights for a yard before he runs into number 8, Tadon Strickland.
Strickland, 129 tackles on the year, averaging 9.2 tackles. So he's been very, very efficient on the season.
Well, of course,
Officials timeout.
And an injured player will bring up a stoppage, but this group of Guilfoyle players couldn't be any different than the 2014-15 season. Those teams went 16-0, 16-0, and 15-0. That winning streak carried into the district championship game the following year. I believe it reached 59 games, so that was a great stretch and a historic stretch for Bishop Guilfoyle football. But this group here is certainly making a mark and a name for themselves.
And these guys that are seniors now were freshmen when that group was performing. So they got a lot of bird's eye view of what it takes to be in this position here this afternoon. And, you know, they took a lot of that experience, and I'm sure that helped them through the year when all those things, all the adversity through injury happened to them.
Sports fans remember the 2003 Snow Bowl. PCN was there, and now you can take a look back. Watch PCN Sports Classics on cable and streaming Saturday, December 14th at 7 p.m. Partner, I know you know where you were at that point, don't you?
We were just talking about this before the game started as we were going by the stage, and the thing I remember the most is the snow going sideways through my glasses on the stage when we were doing the halftime. It was just an amazing sight. It was like being in a snow cone, you know, with a snowball. It just unbelievable sight, and that's a great game to watch. Everybody should tune in to see that.
Injured player was number 80, Hayden Fox. They've brought him to the sidelines. Appears to be okay. And now the offense faced with a second down. We'll call it 9. Direct snap. This time they hand off to Myrick, fighting his way for 3 yards. Gets it close to the 41-yard line before being wrestled down by number 26, Savion Thomas. Thomas among the team leaders in tackles with 72. Second on the team with 9 sacks. He's had a tremendous year for this program.
Well, we talk again about that offensive line of Carnegie and Stevens and Himes and Butler and Bithell. Bithell has 23 pancake blocks on the season, so they've done a great job of really paving the way for these running backs.
Direct snap, that one gets away, and Myrick fortunate to go to damage control and come up with the football.
Well, that could have been turnover number 2 right there, which could have been costly, as you're going to see that ball just sail off his shoulder pad as he comes up, and fortunately for him, gets the ball back.
Well, that's one of those negative plays that you try and avoid on certainly any day, but especially today. Farrell, 28 sacks on the year, 12 tackles for losses. They've 19 interceptions. They've recovered their 19th fumble of the year here in this football game. So now on 4th down, we're going to get a pooch punt. And a low kick, Farrell hanging around. Boy, we saw it a couple of weeks ago on a windy day here like this. You want to sprint away from that football. Timeout on the field. We'll step away as well. 26 yards on the punt. 6:46 to go, second quarter. Farrell by 7.
A lot has changed since 1932.
But one thing that hasn't is Faulkner's commitment to Central PA.
Our organization is built on values like honesty, integrity, and trust.
Our prices are low and transparent.
Our buying experience is fast and easy.
And we're active in the community, supporting our friends and neighbors at charitable events, local games, and fundraisers. We remain committed to you and our community, to be sure.
PCN brings the distinct aspects of Pennsylvania and its residents to your favorite screen.
Hear from state government and community leaders during unedited, balanced coverage of politics and policy.
Dig into the rich history and culture of the state, presented by notable residents and historians.
Score a view of the best high school, college, and world-class athletes competing across the state, and much, much more.
Start exploring the Keystone State today on PCN and the PCN app.
Take a nostalgic look back at some of the best games PCN has televised over the past 20 years with PCN Sports Classics. Watch the entire game without interruption and get updates on key players and coaches who have made Pennsylvania sports history. Watch new episodes monthly and stream the full series on demand with the PCN Select streaming service. Visit PCNTV.com to subscribe. PCN, proud to bring Pennsylvania sports to you.
Well, we left you with Guilfoyle punting. We bring you back with them punting again. Illegal formation. And a twisting kick here is Devin Wyant, who handles both. And Jim, we just talked about it. You cannot, on specialty, you have to get away from that football. That wind is playing tricks with it, and Farrell almost made a costly mistake.
Yeah, special teams is hard enough when you're playing it on a regular day without the wind, but when you're playing it on a day like this where that ball can take any amount of bounces, even the snap from center was sailing a little bit different that got back to the punter. So there's a lot of different variables, and you got to clear the area today, or that could be a turnover and even this game up very quickly.
28-yard punt there by Wyant, and Farrell will take over from their own 22-yard line. They have had good success in controlling that line of scrimmage, and Stallworth, the deepest of the two backs, and he will get the call, fighting to get to the outside. Will be unable to do it. Andrew Janaszak was the first one there defensively. Well, Bishop Guilfoyle won its first state title in 2014. A then 13-year-old Jordan McClure provided inspiration to the team as the Marauders hope to claim their 4th PIAA title. McClure is still with them. Steve Degler has more.
He certainly is, Mike. Jordan McClure has Larson syndrome, which is a genetic disorder that affects the development of bones throughout the body. It occurs once in approximately 100,000 births. Confined to a wheelchair, Jordan is a huge fan of the Marauder football team. He is a captain as well. That first state title team in 2014 included Sam McCloskey, who formed a special bond with Jordan and then went on to become a 3-year captain at Lehigh University. Coach Wheeler said every year after that, it was a player that really developed that type of bond with Jordan. But now this is his his senior class. These are his guys, and they are really, really pulling together. He said he gives us so much inspiration. He's always smiling, and we need him more than he knows, and he's trying to see another state title for his Marauders here today.
Yeah, Sam McCloskey reiterated exactly what you said. He said, you know, he inspires me when I'm having a rough day. I mean, he's around. He has just been a great emotional lift for me throughout my career when he was here, and as Steve mentioned, now at Lehigh University. Well, back to work here after the penalty was assessed against Farrell, and now faced with 3rd down and long, and just again the down and distances, Jim, that you just can't afford to be in these kind of conditions.
No, you can't, and both teams have done a good job of containing those people when there's 3rd and long. So that's the thing, you know, you really haven't seen the Steelers try any kind of pass opportunity, so it'll be interesting to see if Raver might pass on this down here.
Well, it would be faced with a 3rd down and 16, standing just outside his own 10-yard line. And by Stallworth in the backfield. And this may have taken too much time to get the play off. Those of you who have followed the high school football this year, the new 40-second.
We have a dead ball, delay, offense, 3rd down.
40-second play clock was put in where the clock really starts basically as soon as the previous play ends. And it just took out a little of the uncertainty with the officials that, you know, they'd wait till the spot and then kind of start it from that point there and put 25 seconds on it. So it's kind of cleaned that up, and 40 seconds not enough. Pressure coming. Raver's in a world of trouble and does a good job to avoid being sacked back on his own 2-yard line. Talked about Guilfoyle had a safety last week and nearly had him.
This is going to be McCloskey and Donahue doing the chasing right here. You're going to see they chase him right to the outside along with number 64, Colin Butler. So a great job of the pass rush really creating havoc right from the start.
Well, it was Adrian Johnson, number 50, and McCloskey who teamed up for that safety a week ago. And the loss will bring up a 4th down. And standing out of his own end zone is Brian Hilton.
And once again, the snap is important here. As I said, look at that snap up and really high.
Hilton, no flags on the play as that kick sails out of bounds. But Brian Hilton used all of that 6'2" frame to avoid disaster.
Well, that's what people don't realize on a day like this. The snap is just as important. The snap is like a pass. There's no difference between throwing a forward pass and that snap going back to the punter. It's both going to be subjected to the wind, and that one, again, got hung up there. And unfortunately for Hilton, he got it out of there.
17 yards on the punt. Was some contact, no flag at the end of the play. So Guilfoyle, with their best scoring opportunity, best field position, will start from the 27-yard line. Myrick, brought down by number 66, Gary Hobson Jr. Hobson Jr., one of 4 returning starters on the defensive end for Farrell from last year's state championship team. They also returned 4 starters from the offense. But as we were talking earlier, Jim, those skilled position players, all those guys have moved on to graduation.
That's why it was such a tough rebuild for the coaches to get, you know, back. When you lose that many skill guys, that's an awful lot of skill positions to lose. But the linemen were the guys that came back and really made the thing cemented for the year.
Gain of 5 on 1st down. Myrick this time, not much running room on that left side. Knifing in there, 66 was Gary Hobson Jr. again. 64 tackles in 14 games on the year. He has recorded 3 sacks.
Well, this defensive coordinator for Farrell is just such a great defensive coordinator. Omar Stewart's done a great job. You know, Coach McGee's couldn't talk enough about him all through the season. He said he's probably the best defensive coordinator in his mind in the state. These kids have really done a great job, whether it's inside the 20 or outside the 20, of really keeping people out of the end zone all year, obviously with that shutout mark.
8 straight shutouts. I'll call him a pretty good defensive coordinator. Play action, and the pass is going to be tipped and intercepted. Looked like number 52 over there, Dwight Ravenscraft, who's going to come up. Second turnover of the game forced by Farrell.
Again, that time throwing it into the wind a little bit, and he was just right place, right time. They're going to roll the pocket to the right. And he wants to get a little dump pass out here to the outside, but look at that ball wobbly a little bit, but then doesn't really get anything on it as well, and goes right into the hands of number 52, Dwight Ravenscraft.
Somebody got a hand on that. That ball was diverted right at the point where he tried to release it. Defensive end coming in there. Second turnover of this opening half. Charged against Guilfoyle, and back to work goes Farrell. And not much happening there. Stallworth runs into a wall, led by Cameron Maloney.
Maloney's done a great job all year. As we said, third on the team with 119 tackles, 30 tackles for loss. Did a nice job of getting number 31 right there as he was in the backfield early.
Loss of a yard on first down. 104 tackles for losses for this Guilfoyle team, including 41 sacks. Jim, that's 145 negative plays that they have produced defensively.
I tell you, both. This is such a defensive battle. Both defenses are superb at getting into the backfield and doing that tackle for loss.
Raver sends the motion man Butler. Hands it off to Stallworth, trying to get to the outside, and does a pretty good job of doing just that. Over there to run him out of bounds was Nagola. But Stallworth turned it into a good gain, and will make it a more manageable third down.
Nagola did a nice job of trailing on the outside. He has 58 tackles on the season and an interception, but he strung that play out just enough to get him to push out of bounds. Otherwise, he might have been able to turn that one upfield. That was a close one to being going for pay dirt.
Raver, who has scored the only touchdown of the afternoon on a quarterback sneak, and movement early on that offensive line is going to make this 5 yards tougher.
Have a dead ball, false start, offense, 5 yards, still third down.
Credit that to Jack Donahue. He did a nice job, number 74, coming up and pretending he was going to come in on the blitz. That drew the eyesight of the offensive lineman, drew him off sides.
Change your play call here, Jim. 3rd and 10 instead of 3rd and 5.
Yeah, that changes it a lot right now. And again, you're going to see if they're going to roll him out of the pocket or not, if they want to keep him back here. The rush has been really tough to keep him in that pocket.
Yeah, they emptied the backfield. Raver, his quarterback run might be the call, and it is. Probing and looking, fighting. He's going to get to about the 30-yard line, which is about a yard shy of first down yardage. Finally brought down by Adrian Johnson.
Well, he did stay in the pocket, but not for long. He did that very quickly, is getting out of there and getting upfield. He knew where he needed to get to that for that first down. Just came up a yard short and is going to set up another punting situation.
I like the call by Coach Pegues. You don't have good field position here. You lead 7-0. I think those are the calls and the scenarios that you just have to try and go to damage control. Boy, a big high snap from center. That ball was tipped, so wave off any contact. Officials right on top of it. And Hilton Jr., who got off a terrific punt, is hurt back at the 15-yard line.
First of all, again, he had to go up top for that snap, and that's really why he was in that position. But boy, did he get off a huge punt right here. A really good change of field position. Take a look at it here. Again, that thing takes off like a pass, but then he gets the punt off, and then it's hit, but it was tipped slightly, and that's the thing that says no penalty. So you're going to have number 17 was in there for A.J. Kilmartin. I think he got a tip of it.
Well, go figure. The ball was tipped. It still went 42 yards downfield.
It was a great punt.
Certainly was. That gives you the idea of the strength of that. But I'm wondering if Hilton Jr. thought of fair catching that at any point. That was a tough snap from center. So Guilfoyle holds. And now 1st and 10. 1:47 to go till halftime.
There was another snap that went high again. Like the snaps, that's the thing people don't realize, when they're running this shotgun formation in this kind of weather, those snaps, even though it's not in the wind a lot of the time, are affected.
And a timeout. This one.
Bishop, Farrell.
Charged to Farrell. They'll have 2 remaining, and with 1:35, hey, you have to play this thing out for what it's worth. You can get them into punt formation. Farrell leading 7-0, first of 6. Being brought to you by the Pennsylvania Cable Network. If you're watching us live on a Thursday afternoon, tonight at 7, it'll be Thomas Jefferson and Dallas in the 4A championship game. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock Friday, Avonworth Antelopes, first time in the state championship game against Southern Columbia. Those 2 pedigrees could not be more different, as the Tigers making their record 18th appearance in the championship tilt. Friday night it'll be Archbishop Wood taking on Cheltenham, another first-timer. And Saturday at 12 noon, Central Valley, another first-time here, the 3A class against Wyoming area. And the 6A championship, the final of the 6, St. Joe's Prep and Central Dauphin will come your way 6 o'clock this Saturday. PCN, your championship network for all 6 football title games over the next 3 days. Weather's supposed to get a little bit more comfortable tomorrow. Again, if you're just tuning in, wind gust this afternoon as high as 25 to 30 miles per hour. And our game time temperature was in the mid-40s, wind chill feeling much cooler than that. Quick handoff here to McCloskey. Jackson there to wrap him up, and another quick timeout charged by Farrell.
I love the way Anthony Jackson comes off that edge, Mike. He's done a great job here this afternoon of really coming off that edge and getting that guy early in the backfield, whoever it may be for Guilfoyle.
Farrell, one of the most successful programs over the last decade. Their record over the last 10 years, 133. Of course, their championship game pedigree dates back to 1990. They lost to Marian Catholic 21-13, but found gold under the direction of that young man. He was the quarterback in 1995 when they beat mighty Southern Columbia 6-0. He graduated. They came back the next year to beat the Tigers 14-12. And in 2015, we talked about this being a rematch, loss to Bishop Guilfoyle 35-0. Of course, last year, a state champion. So 3-2 in 5 previous championship game appearances. This is also the program's 5th straight year they have reached the Final Four. 5th time in 12 seasons they've run into that team from Clairton. And we talked about the emotional win a week ago over the Bears. Shifting on that line of scrimmage. And they try to run a sweep, and that did not fool Farrell defensively. Myrick on the call. He actually got thrown for a loss. And it will bring up a 4th down. Let's go down sidelines with Steve Degler.
Well, Mike, you talked about the 0-2 start for Farrell, and that second loss was 40-0 on Wilmington, August 30th. Then you mentioned the shutout streak. The next time the Steelers allowed a point was November 8th. August 30th to November 8th, not including a forfeit win, Farrell posted 8 straight shutouts, outscoring the opposition 390-0. That's an average of 49-0 over a 2-month stretch. I'm pretty sure Mean Joe Green would have been impressed by that defensive dominance, and I think Terry Bradshaw and Franco Harris would be happy with the offensive numbers too. What a dominant stretch of football by the Farrell Steelers over a 2-month period.
Well, it certainly was.
It was interesting to hear Coach McGee say they were kind of relieved when that shutout streak got over, because he said it was so much pressure. Maplewood scored on them finally to end that shutout streak, but that was the thing that was interesting, is the way he said it. He goes, yeah, those streaks are nice, but they're a lot of pressure.
Yeah, 35-0 over Union City, West Middlesex 33-0, Cambridge Springs 63-0, Mercer area 73-0. Streak reached 8 games, and Guilfoyle will have to punt, and boy, that is just cutting it out, Jim. I mean, even on a punter, that drop, the wind is just so ferocious. That drop just gets altered, and that's just a good job of executing and getting that out there by Cameron Maloney. That's a 22-yard punt and a good effort on his part.
Yeah, everything is going to be a very, very hard thing to do, especially when it involves something that is multitaskful like punting.
So the punt getting the ball out right 49-yard line.
Well, Steve talked about that loss to Wilmington 40-0 in that second game of the year. They only ran 8 plays of offense in the second half, so you know that was a different type of game against Wilmington, but they came back, and this guy right here has been the quarterback since that ball game.
He's trying to throw his first pass of the game, but Guilfoyle won't let him. He's going to lose a yard or two. First man there was 74, Jack Donahue. Donahue, a terrific year, 13 games, 77 tackles. For a lineman, he's got 2 interceptions. That's his 6th tackle for a loss. That's great coverage in that secondary. Boy, what a 1:10 to go here. Important moment in this game. Guilfoyle is going to get the football to start the third quarter. Farrell with no timeouts. Point being, Jim, here you put this ball up in the air. Here anything can happen to it.
They're going to have a penalty called on them for the shift that they had, I think, on the outside with one of their wide receivers.
We have a dead ball, encroachment, offense.
48.
Well, it's interesting, too, with Farrell that they bring a lot of guys back. As we said, Coach McGee's was a player there, obviously won the state championship. And Lou Falcone, the former head coach, is a volunteer. He was the head coach from 1980 to 2006. He went 210, 91, and 6. So they have a lot of guys on that staff that have a lot of pride with Farrell being involved in the program and staying around there and trying to keep that winning streak continued.
Farrell located right on our Pennsylvania border out west. Second down, and after the penalty, now 18 to go. Raver is going to let it go. Look at the wind take care of that. Boy, that thing just has a nice tight spiral, and that is the exact way the wind is shooting across this field. There is a flagged out on the play.
That was intended for Bryce Butler, number 7. He's done a nice job all year, 19 receptions for 457 yards and 6 touchdowns. But he thought he could loft that one and he could outrun the coverage, but that wasn't going to happen.
Well, this possession continues to moonwalk in the wrong direction. Illegal man downfield, and it looks like this one is going to be...
We have ineligible downfield on the offense. Penalties decline. Third down.
Of course, when you talk Farrell, Jim, I think you go back to and you just remember the great basketball programs. Ed McCluskey, the legendary head coach there. Their volleyball program under the direction of Harriet Morrison. They've won 8 girls championships, 7 boys basketball titles, 3 wrestling championships, the 3 footballs, 22 total state championships for the high school of Farrell in their participation in the PIAA. They're going to go back to what they do best. Stallworth has it around left end. Boy, and he's got all of the penalties back, plus about 7 yards. Finally tracked down by McCloskey.
Again, they went back to trying to get that edge, and they got it that time as he got outside. Nice job of getting there. You can take a look at it here. You see you get the good seal inside by number 75, Hobson, and then you get to that corner, and then you get upfield. He starts breaking some tackles, but McCloskey finally pushes him out of bounds.
That McCloskey tackle saved the first down. They're now faced with a 4th, but he got to within 4 yards, 5 yards, making a first down yardage. And fully expect Farrell to go here now with just 53 seconds. Raver trying to set his offense, relocates number 20, Tyree Hammonds. Joins Stallworth in the backfield, and Stallworth's going to get the call, and he is through. He's to the 30, has the first down, and more. Finally tripped up at the 21-yard line.
Great job by the left side of that offensive line. Once again, they did an outstanding job of opening up that hole. And once he gets into that second level, you're going to see that's the deal. Once that second level opens up, he's good. He takes people on real strong.
Farrell able to overcome, the illegal man downfield, offsides. And just going back to doing what they do best. Mention on the year, 55 rushing touchdowns. That total now stands at 56. They have thrown 16 touchdown passes, but it has been that rush game that has allowed them to average 38.5 points a game.
the change of quarterback after the second game at Wilmington to Raver, they've really done a nice job with that change of going through the rest of the year with production on that offensive side.
Pennsylvania's top high school wrestlers are coming to PCN's Match of the Week. Watch as we bring you primetime matchups from across the state. Get more information at pcntv.com. Stay with us. Coming up at the half, Steve Degler, Bob McCool will break down what has happened here in this opening half, plus take a look at tonight's championship game in the 4A classification, as we're back to work here on first down and 10. Raver surveying the defense. Mishandles the snap, and it looks like Guilfoyle had a chance to get to it. It looks like 74, Jack Donahue has the football. First turnover against Farrell.
It's going to be number 50, Adrian Johnson, coming up with that ball, Mike. And he's been pivotal, as you said. He was the guy with the safety last week, and you see him just bull rush his way into the backfield, comes up with that football.
I would not expect Guilfoyle to do anything here, Jim. They turned it over uncharacteristic twice in this first half, and I would have to think that Coach Wheeler, in some respects, not all that unhappy to only be down 7-0 in this game.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Mike. He's going to probably play a little safe to the vest right here and go into there at halftime down 7-0. They've done a nice job coming back and really holding their own after a couple of turnovers.
Well, they've got Myrick in that wildcat, if you will. He's looking to take the direct snap. And certainly with a guy that can break it and go the distance on any play, you got to give that a shot. He is tripped up and brought down by Kylon Wilson, number 25. Gain of 4 on first down.
You're going to see a mistake on the line. I think they snapped that ball early. The center, Jack Donahue, got a little bit anxious right there.
We have a dead ball, snap infraction, offense, still second down.
PIAA championship games of the exclusive property of the PIAA. Television coverage is licensed to PCN, whose exclusive rights are protected by federal copyright law. Any retransmission of any kind or other use of the television coverage of this game without the expressed written consent of the PIAA is prohibited by law. And now Guilfoyle will just take the knee in the final seconds. Tip-off or runoff here. And a 7-0 Farrell advantage. Pretty much what we expected. Let's go down to hear from Steve Degler.
Mike, thank you very much. Coach Pegues, your defense has done it for you all year. Why were they so successful in the first half today?
They got a great coordinator. He put those guys in the correct position, a lot of film study, and the kids just playing hard right now.
How tough has it been to move the football in these conditions?
The wind is really affecting the ball game right now. We can't put the ball up in there like sometimes we want to, and it's really a major part of this game.
Any changes offensively you have to make because of that?
No, we just got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot and the penalties, and we're not going to worry about the win, and we're going to do what we do best and run the football.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Mike, back to you.
Steve, thank you very much. Steve will be joined by Bob McCool as we return to Hershey Park Stadium. 7-0. We have reached halftime in the Single A state championship game.
Packed with 9 essential nutrients, low-fat chocolate milk can be an important part of your recovery routine. Refuel with chocolate milk after your next workout.
Brought to you by Penn State Sports Medicine of Penn State Health, Milton S. Hershey Medical Center, official healthcare provider of Penn State Athletics. From the youngest athletes to professional superstars, Penn State Sports Medicine covers them all. Politics and policy, history and culture, sports. PCN is your place for Pennsylvania, on cable and on the PCN app.
The mats are set. The athletes are ready. Are you? Pennsylvania's top high school wrestlers are coming this January on PCN's Wrestling Match of the Week. Watch as we bring you primetime matchups from across Pennsylvania on cable and streaming. Get more at PCNTV.com. PCN, Pennsylvania Sports.
PCN allows people to see what the farm show is all about, even if they can't be here.
Love to see all the different animals, the sheep to show.
You can see horse pulls, rodeo.
Our favorite is tractor square dancing.
A week long of watching PCN covering the farm show.
PCN is the full coverage, in, out, up, down, everywhere.
See it all and more with PCN's coverage of the Pennsylvania Farm Show, January 4th to the 11th.
Give the gift of PCN this holiday season with all your favorite shows wrapped up in one great package. A PCN Select subscription. Sports fan on your list? PCN has your ticket to 14 PIAA championship games, from basketball to football and everything in between. Know a proud Pennsylvanian? We have the most farm show coverage anywhere, plus program favorites like PA Books, PCN Tours, and the Gettysburg Battle Walks. Subscribe today at PCNTV.com.
Halftime from Hershey Park Stadium, the Single-A Championship with the Farrell Steelers on top of the Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders by a score of 7-0. There were a lot of points scored in the PIAA football semifinals throughout the state of Pennsylvania, but not in the Single-A Championships. Both Guilfoyle and Farrell won close-scoring games, and the combination of good defense and Mother Nature has made sure that happens in the final as well.
I don't know which is more of a factor. I mean, it's tough. It's really, we even saw with the punt snaps. It's very difficult to handle the football if it's in the air right now. A couple of turnovers in that first half, but the defenses, as we expected, were simply outstanding. Very difficult to move the football for both teams.
And obviously special teams, and Steve talked about that from the very beginning of this game, that special teams are going to be a factor in this as well because of making decisions whether we want to punt the football or not. And not surprisingly, it was defense that sets up the only points in this game.
Yeah, the defense sets up a short field off a turnover, and Farrell is able to take advantage of it pretty quickly. And these types of games, you certainly can't afford to give the ball away, and it's a big defensive play that sets up the short field. It didn't take long to make it 7-0. And the Farrell defense, we talked about the 8 consecutive shutouts they had during the course of the year, outscoring their opponents 390-0. You watch them today, you can certainly see how they were able to accomplish that feat.
And you saw it happen right there. Tyree Hammonds with the hit, and it's recovered by Brian Hilton, and a couple plays later, the Steelers put it in the end zone, as Steve said, with a short field. They punch it in with Stallworth going in for the touchdown, and just trying to figure out a way to get something happening as Guilfoyle trying to get something going offensively. And you look at some of the highlights for Bishop Guilfoyle offensively, they could be in black and white because this is a really old school offense, just almost some single wing type of stuff, trying to get something going offensively for Bishop Guilfoyle against a tough defense.
The defense is really good. There's not a whole lot of holes to run to, and I really think when you look at Guilfoyle, maybe one of the big things for them in that first half was to be able to get the stop at the end. They had that first down at the 22-yard line, and then they get a turnover defensively. It keeps it a one-score game. If you get down by more than one score today, because neither team throws the football, and in these conditions it's going to be very difficult, I thought that stop at the end of the half when they got the fumble recovery could be a huge part of this game right now.
And I still think special teams is going to play a factor. Not the kicking game from a field goal standpoint, but from a punting situation. It's going to give somebody a short field and be able to punch it in.
Even in the second half kickoff, it could be a factor. Depending what happens there with the wind, a guy misjudges the ball or a ball gets knocked down, it's a free football. But that recovery right there, keeping it a one-score game for Guilfoyle because neither team could throw the ball. I mean, it's going to be really difficult to get anything connected downfield with as bad as the wind is here right now.
Bishop Guilfoyle trails Farrell by a score of 7-0. We'll take a timeout, come back, and take a look ahead to tonight's game in the 5A championship when we come back to Hershey Park Stadium.
Since 1934, PSECU has given Pennsylvanians financial opportunities to live a better life. We are a credit union who offers valuable free and low-fee financial products, broad lending options, and outstanding money management for financing life. At PSECU, we are proud of who we are and committed to who we serve because our Pennsylvania roots run deep. We are banking on a difference. Visit pseccu.com to join us. This credit union is federally insured by the National Credit Union Administration, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Jack's playing baseball now, and Sam inherited her dad's love of chemistry and his teeth. And I'm learning that having a family is expensive.
Well, at Wise, you can find plenty of ways to save on things your family loves. And less money on groceries means more money for everything else.
That's awesome.
That's Wise.
Eat better,
spend less. That's Wise.
Travel with PCN across the state as we capture Pennsylvania's rich history and diverse culture. Journey back in time as we tour the state's many battlefields, listen to the stories of veterans, and hear insights from authors on the past. Explore agriculture with coverage of the farm show, or take a behind-the-scenes tour of how everyday items are made right in your community. Watch Pennsylvania's past and present come to life on PCN. PCN, proud to bring Pennsylvania history and culture to you. Did you know you can watch all of your favorite PCN originals and more at home or on the go? Download the PCN app on your favorite device and tune in to see what makes Pennsylvania's heart beat. Watch videos on demand, see multiple live streams, and check out the free selected programs and events. PCN, Pennsylvania Politics and Policy, History and Culture, Sports, and more.
If you want to ride a roller coaster in Hershey this afternoon, well, good luck, because it's not ideal conditions for that. But it is football weather. Farrell Steelers on top of Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders by a score of 7-0. Alongside Steve Degler, my name is Bob McCool. We're at halftime, and we're going to take a look a little bit ahead. The 4A championship game tonight matches a couple of unbeatens. Thomas Jefferson takes on Dallas in a matchup, and again, old school football tonight. Two teams who are successful because they can run the football.
They can run. They can also throw the football if they need to. Whether Mother Nature allows them to do that tonight, we'll have to wait and see if the wind dies down. But the numbers for these two teams are absolutely incredible. Very similar in the way that they have demolished teams all season long. Thomas Jefferson is giving up 4 points a game. You heard that correctly. 4 points a game while scoring 46 a game. Their quarterback, Shane Stump, can do it all. He's thrown for 34 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's run for nearly 500 yards. They've got Dylan Malozzi in the backfield. He's run for over 1,700 yards and 25 touchdowns. So they can beat you in several different ways. And a guy like Stump engineering the offense, Bob, is also a key factor on that defense that has posted 6 shutouts this year. This is a very impressive team coming into Hershey trying to win another state championship.
And they play under a former offensive lineman in Bill Chirpak, who's a very good offensive lineman for the Pitt Panthers, and he brings that kind of mentality. He is 3-0 in championship games. However, the last one came in 2008, which is a lot better than the Dallas case because the Mountaineers are here for the first time since 1993. Also, a little bit of an old school coach. Rich Manello was a longtime college coach, but he has brought his style of football to the Mountaineers, and Dallas has been really, really good.
And this is a team that has been together for 4 years, and as freshmen, they really took their lumps. They were 2-9, and lo and behold, as seniors, they are 15-0. Lenny Kelly ran for nearly 300 yards, 5 touchdowns last week in the semifinal win over Jersey Shore. What a season he has had. 2,600-plus yards, 41 touchdowns. They've played 15 games this year. He's run for at least 100, and many times more than 200 in every single one of those contests.
2,000-yard running back in Lenny Kelly for Dallas, and as Steve said, a really good running back in Dylan Malozzi for Thomas Jefferson. But again, offensive line, battle in the line of scrimmage is going to be a major player in this one.
And that means field position will be a key. Don't make penalties, especially in offense, that you get yourself in long yardage situations. And these guys have been very good all season long. This is a great traditional matchup. I'm really excited to see which of these two can come out with a victory. Should be a very, very entertaining game tonight.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people will think with Thomas Jefferson and coming out of the WPIAL and what they've done. Again, Bill Churpak is 3-0 in state championships, but it's been a while. And so his style of football is what he does, which is good offensive line play and power football. But Rich Manello has been around the game of football for a long time. He was a college coach for 19 seasons and now in his 5th season here with the Dallas Mountaineers. So they know the game of football. They know it ins and outs. And so adjustments always will be a factor as well.
And they have 2 experienced guys on the sideline. So I don't think adjustments are going to be a problem. It's who can execute those things as they get deeper into the game tonight.
Yeah, we're going to find out. Again, that'll be 7 o'clock. That'll be our game. Steve and I will have the call for you here on PCN. Mike Zambelli and Jim Wills have the call of the second half. The Farrell Steelers, the Bishop Guilfoyle Marauders, the Single A Championship when we come back to Hershey Park Stadium right here on PCN.
This is Juju's Fortress. This is Juju's Cape. This is Juju's Superpower. This is Juju's heroism. This is Penn State Children's Hospital.
These days, life is busy, but amazing. From the sci-fi brilliance of technology to the existence of toast, we move at a crazy pace until this happens. Time for MedExpress. Walk right in, get the care you need, and get right back at it. MedExpress, because life is urgent.
Travel with PCN across the state as we capture Pennsylvania's rich history and diverse culture. Journey back in time as we tour the state's many battlefields, listen to the stories of veterans, and hear insights from authors on the past. Explore agriculture with coverage of the farm show, or take a behind-the-scenes tour of how everyday items are made right in your community. Watch Pennsylvania's past and present come to life on PCN. PCN, proud to bring Pennsylvania history and culture to you.
Tired of unbalanced views and networks pushing their own angles? PCN brings it to you straight. We don't edit what was said to fit a point of view. We bring you the entire event. No slant, no editing, the whole story. A complete view without the angle. Watch PCN on cable and on the PCN app. Stream politics and policy on your favorite device for free.
Welcome back to Hershey, Pennsylvania. Game 1 of 6 in the PIAA championship rotation. Our single A title game with Farrell leading Bishop Guilfoyle 7-0. We welcome you back here. And Jim, guys talked about it at halftime. It is just so difficult to try and establish anything offensively different in that first half. Farrell got the turnover, had great field position, scored. Guilfoyle, after that punt exchange, had their best field position and couldn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. They got to take advantage. When you get field position today, you have to absolutely take advantage of it because you're not going to get it that many times. And the thing of it is, Farrell took advantage. They got the turnover. They created that fumble opportunity. They picked it up, and in 2 plays, they're in the end zone.
It's pretty obviously that weather's having a major factor on this game. If you're the defensive coordinators on both teams, what's your message to your defense coming out here for the second half?
Well, I think, to be honest with you, to continue what you did in the first half, I think defensively both guys have to be very, very happy. Except for that turnover, that's a 7 points. Now, both sides, I think, were a little bit aggressive in the first quarter, not as aggressive in the second quarter, and I think they'll go back to being more aggressive here in the third quarter.
You knew special teams were going to be very important in this game, and it's been a little shaky at best on both sides. I mean, these guys are just basically muscling their way through snaps from centers, trying to get the drop properly, and just trying to avoid disaster.
Yeah, that's one of the things at halftime that I'm sure that they talked to their center on the punt team especially about being more conscious of what you're doing. This isn't a normal day for you. You got to really work on that. So those kind of things are going to be big here in the second half.
Both head coaches, I think, are going to get tested pretty severely in the second half. We've already seen them go for it on fourth down on 5 different occasions combined for the two teams. Offensively, I apologize, fans. We don't have a lot to show you there if you're looking for offensive numbers.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, you're looking there. The thing of it is passing yards are going to be at a premium in any game you play today. And the thing of it is as well, third down conversions. Interesting, Bishop Guilfoyle 2 for 6, 0 for 6 on third down conversions for Farrell. The thing of it is, it's a defensive struggle. It is what it is, but it's a great game when you look at it, especially if you're a defensive guy.
What you don't see there is Farrell has converted a couple of times on fourth down in that first half, twice to be exact. So while they weren't successful on third down, they just stuck with it. So again, field position, same things that we kind of talked about in the opening, and just throwing the football. I mean, my gosh, I just don't know how you do it if you're either one of these quarterbacks. It's a big risk to put the ball up in the air here this afternoon.
Yeah, no question about it. It's a factor, and you hate to harp on it, but the thing of it is what it is. And if you've been able to throw the ball a little bit this year, you're not going to be able to throw the ball a lot today. That's the difference.
Let's go down and hear from Steve Douglas. Steve?
Mike, thank you very much, Coach Wheeler. How big was that turnover you guys get at the end of the first half to keep it a one-score game?
That was big. That was big. Our defense has played pretty well at moments. We gave up a touchdown on a turnover there, but I think it's been a pretty even fight. I'm happy the way our guys are playing, the way they're competing, but we definitely got to make some plays here in the second half now.
What do you do offensively to try and move the ball a little bit more?
The wind's tough to throw in the ball, but when we get a chance to with the opportunities of the wind behind you, we got to kind of take some shots. They're really selling out. Got to do some misdirections, kind of keep them off balance and change up the snap count a little bit because they're getting back on us pretty quick.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you very much.
And Mike, I understand we got a correction too. In addition, we missed Harold Fairclaw, a guy you and I and Jim know very well. He has the double for player and head coach at his alma mater for state championships with Allentown Central Catholic, so we apologize for that. Anthony Pegues trying to become the second, we believe, to do that, winning at his alma mater as a player and as a head coach for a state championship.
Well, Steve, I've been looking at that for years when I've been mentioning that Harold had done it, and I knew Bob and you had talked about it with Eric Kasparovich getting it done the other year. I think the interesting thing, Eric Kasparovich won as a player for North Hills in 1993. Harold Fairclough won with Central Catholic as a player in 1993. So they're the only two so far that have gotten that done. And it's hard to research it, too. So that's the good work there as we get ready here for, well, Jim, we'll see which team can make the play. You get the sense, too, that, defensively, I don't know that if I have on my mind to try and force some turnovers here. Both teams have been very good at that. Farrell's forced 2. They've cashed in on the 1 to convert that into a touchdown.
Yeah, the thing of it is these kicks are going to be important. Every play is going to be important. Every snap's going to be important because of the fact, as I said, even when you are in the shotgun, the snap is of big value here today with this weather. So we'll see what happens on this kickoff.
Of course, the decision to have the wind with them or behind them then fell for Farrell in the third quarter. So obviously, they're going to have the wind advantage as we move into the fourth quarter. And it certainly looks like this one is going to come down to that period as well. So Guilfoyle will have the football to start.
Procedure. Kicking team, receiving team chose to take the ball at the 35.
So the choice to take it at the 35-yard line, and to work goes Bishop Guilfoyle, also a school that has had a great pedigree in terms of state championship success. Their boys basketball team with 4, their girls basketball team with 6. As we look at the first half possessions here for Guilfoyle, they've had the ability to move the ball, but the fumble certainly derailed them. The punt, the interception. Mentioned the one that they started What, at about the 27-yard line? That's the possession for me, Jim, where they couldn't execute and get to the end zone was their best scoring chance of that first half.
Yeah, no question. That would have been their best scoring chance in that first half. They need to get more of those opportunities here. If you look on the other side for Farrell, Anthony Jackson has done a great job of coming off that edge a lot of times, has 4 tackles from the first half, so he's going to be a key here as well in the second half. And now there's going to be a substitution here as number 7 checks into the lineup, Bryce Butler.
2nd down and 8. Direct snap to Myrick. And, of course, when they put Myrick in this wildcat or whatever you like to call it offensively, that gives them the ability to have that extra blocker in there. First man there defensively was Taden Strickland. Strickland is the team's leading tackler. How about he averages 9.2 tackles a game, 129 on the year. 26 solo is the best for the Steelers. Also has a couple of interceptions as well. There's a complete football player right there.
No question. Number 8 has been doing it and doing it all year long. Most consistent on the side of the defensive part of the football team.
Well, then this is what the game plan is going to be. This is a contest where 3-4 yards is very successful in staying on the pace, and certainly Myrick's on pace here. Great job improvising in that backfield. Play designed to go left. He broke it off to the right and turned it into a gainer and a first down.
We're going to take a look at the snap here. Right to Myrick does a good job of going to the outside, hurdles a block, and gets himself the first down. Great job, a great piece of running there by number 3. You know, he's not really a big guy, Mike. He's only 161 pounds, but he takes a beating here because he runs the football so many times.
Well, and we talked about defensively as well, and he's on special teams. Superb conditioned athletes. He's going to remain in there at the quarterback position. Again, 1 of 4. They put him in there when they had the injuries earlier in the year, and he's 1 of 4 that they have used throughout the course of the year. And this play will, they're fortunate to get back to the line of scrimmage. Savion Thomas, number 26, first man there defensively for the Steelers. Bob and Steve talked about it at halftime, Jim, and I think we've all pretty become accustomed to it. You're going to win a state championship in Pennsylvania. Need to be able to do something at that line of scrimmage, and this play is going to break down in a big loss. Savion Thomas, 9 sacks, second on the team, 3 tackles for loss, and that's going to move them into a 3rd and 16.
Yeah, he's coming in through the inside there. To see they're flooding that zone on the inside. They're using him from that position to come inside, and they're really putting too many people to take on the offensive lineman right there, and they're really flooding that zone. He got in there very, very well.
Connor Kesey-Wetter on the year, 61 for 108 passing, 790 yards. 3 touchdowns. They have thrown for only 4 on the year. 39 rushing touchdowns. So this is the kind of game that Guilfoyle has experienced all season long. And low scoring, grinded out through 4 quarters.
You have a dead ball, delay game, offense, 3rd down.
Farrell now has 8 tackles in the game for negative or no gain.
The thing of it is, Mike, we've seen a lot of these delayed games too. That's the other thing. You know, they're taking a long time because they're trying to do that one last shift with their linemen before they can get down to the play they want to call. So a couple of penalties have hurt here, and this is a big one here because now it is 3rd and 20.
Myrick, the motion man. Kesey-Wetter just hands it off. That is McCloskey. He's going to get it to the 46-yard line. I'm going to have to think, if you're Guilfoyle, you certainly have to play field position here and punt it away. Again, negative plays. Does the drive bog down because of what they did? And obviously, for Coach Pegues getting the sack, and it just gets you off schedule.
Now remember, this is the way Hilton was punting the last time for Farrell when he got off that great punt.
Wyatt. Twisting kick, nearly hit a Farrell player trying to keep it, but they could not keep it out of the end zone. 46-yard punt. It'll come out to the 20. And that's where Farrell will take over with their first possession of this second half.
Again, Mike, as we talked about in the first half, you can't get cute here in special teams. That time, Bryce Butler almost got hit by that ball when he was, you got to get out of the area, because that's, in a game like this, it's going to be one of those turnovers, as we saw a couple weeks ago in a game we did where a guy got in the way. He should have cleared and it hit him in the calf. Before you know it, the other team goes in and scores, and it's tied up. So the same thing could happen here.
Farrell with their first possession. Had success rushing the ball 28 times for 160 yards in that first half. And Stallworth gets it on first down, and then immediately by McCloskey.
McCloskey's had a great game here this afternoon. You knew coming in he was going to give you that ability to go sideline to sideline. He's done a great job. 5'10", 204-pound junior. He's played in all 14 games this year. Done a great job with the tackles.
Limits that first down play to about a yard. Raver up under center. Probably a pretty good move on an afternoon like today. They go to the toss sweep. Stallworth pulled away from a defender and then turned what looked like might be a yard or two loss into a gain of a couple yards before being run out of bounds by Johnson once again. Johnson's numbers, 12 games, 73 tackles, fourth highest on the team. He was tied for second with 14 tackles for loss. Really do it by committee with Bishop Guilfoyle. And now trying to hustle in the proper personnel. Farrell did not convert on third down in the first half, 0 for 6. Faced with a 3rd down and 4 here. Stallworth cuts it back inside and will not get there. McCloskey once again, number 42, to throw him for a loss of 3.
As we said, he's just done such a great job of being all over the field, along with number 57 there as well. That's the thing. Cameron Maloney is helping him out as well. But the thing of it is, they know what's coming, and they can pretty much defense it, and they did a good job there again.
Well, there have been a couple of wayward snaps. This one, obviously, punt into the wind. Myrick is settling back at his own 40. Brian Hilton has done a very nice job this afternoon handling those snaps. Has a punt that wound up going 42 yards, and the play clock now winding down to 0. So that just goes again to show the importance of these kicks and punts. And on an afternoon, they're forced to use a timeout, one I'm sure that Coach Pegues did not want to use here. 7-0. We're into the third quarter of the Single A championship game.
A lot has changed since 1932.
But one thing that hasn't is Faulkner's commitment to Central PA.
Our organization is built on values like honesty, integrity, and trust.
Our prices are low and transparent.
Our buying experience is fast and easy.
And we're active in the community, supporting our friends and neighbors at charitable events, local games, and fundraisers. We remain committed to you and our community, to be sure.
It's interactive ice cream fun at the Turkey Hill Experience, located in Columbia, PA, just south of Hershey. Create your own virtual ice cream flavor and packaging, milk our mechanical cows, and star in your own Turkey Hill commercial. Visit turkeyhillexperience.com for more information.
Your hometown is awesome. You know it and want to show it off. Show your hometown to the state with PCN's Hometown Postcards. Upload video showcasing interesting features, historic places, or just how beautiful the area is. Go to PCNTV.com, click on Hometown Postcards, and follow the upload instructions. PCN, proud to bring Pennsylvania to you.
Well, after the timeout, it's interesting, Jim. Bishop Guilfoyle has moved Myrick up another about 12 yards. He's now standing at the 48-yard line. Hilton Jr. is in punt formation. He was all the way back at his own 40 before we went to that timeout, and now a change. There's that high lofted punt, or the snap from center. This angled out of bounds and will wind up giving Guilfoyle good field position. A win for the Marauders today would not only give them their 4th state title in 6 years, would also be a milestone for their head coach, Steve Degler, with more.
Wheeler sitting on 99 wins coming into today. And I asked him, is there any more significance if you can get it today? He said, well, our run 2014 through 2016 was great. We had expectations back then. He said, we didn't have a whole lot of expectations this year. We were a bit of an unknown, but we keep finding ways to win. He referenced how in the last several weeks at halftime they either have not scored or they're trailing in the game, yet they come back. He said it's a special team here. They don't have a group of superstars. It's been a team thing. And he said these guys have certainly cemented their legacy. No matter what happens here today, it'll be a little more special, though, he said, if you can get 100 and the trophy as well.
Well, it's been a special decade for their whole program. 101 wins against 29 losses. They have certainly...
False start, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
They have certainly redefined what it means to wear a Bishop Guilfoyle football uniform during that stretch. Jim, good field position once again, not the way you wanted to start this drive.
No, there's been always that really big thing that stops the drive right away. And the thing of it is, it's always been a penalty that forces them back, start 5 yards deeper. Those are the things. When you're having a hard time getting 10 yards, 15 yards isn't much easier.
Yeah, this is the second time in this game they will start a possession inside Farrell territory. And with the wind in their back here, you just get the sense. I mean, there's
Ball's fumbled, Mike.
And they're going to lose the possession of it.
Farrell recovers.
So a team that, by the stat sheet that I was provided, had one lost fumble all year long, has lost 2 this afternoon.
And look who comes up with the ball, Anthony Jackson. I've talked about him all game long. He's done a great job coming off that corner for Coach Omar Stewart's defense. And again, he comes up with the ball. As you're going to see, the ball pops loose, and all of a sudden, there's people down on the ground, and Jackson comes up with it.
So Guilfoyle unable to take advantage, and with 6:03 to go third quarter, you just have to wonder how many more opportunities they're going to have in this quarter to get their hands on the football. Jaden Harrison, he's a junior.
That time they had Christian Hartley in the backfield, number 2. He's a reserve. The fullback comes in there. He's had some yards on the season, but they're putting him in there for a blocking technique right now. You're going to see him come out here on the wing. Number 2 is right out here on the wing. I think they decided that that's going to give more of a push in that run game.
Harrison, 4 carries, 35 yards in that first half. He's getting a little bit more work here. We'll finish that run off of about 9 yards, run out of bounds by Myrick. But into Bishop Guilfoyle territory.
Boy, points would go awfully big here, Mike, as we talked about. Points are at a premium in this game, but points here would be very, very big going into the fourth quarter.
Well, knowing you're going to have the wind at your back if you're Farrell. Direct snap. Handed to Stallworth, and again another play behind the line of scrimmage, Andrew Janishak.
You can see why Coach Wheeler said he's such a potential D1 candidate coming off that corner. The thing of it is, he was very, very high in him. He says he's been our heart and soul of our defense, and you can see why.
He's one of 18 juniors on their 46-player roster. Jim, they only have 8 seniors on their roster, 12 sophomores, 8 freshmen. Janishek second on the team in tackles, 124, leads them with solo tackles, 58. This is a huge series in this game for Bishop Guilfoyle to get their hands back on that football. Stallworth, nowhere to go.
And their offensive line, Mike, isn't getting the big push like they did in the first half. Their offensive line is not getting low enough. They're really standing up straight. It's giving Guilfoyle an opportunity to ship those linebackers inside, and they're doing a good job of meeting the ball carrier before he even gets past that line of scrimmage.
One thing all coaches talk about along that line of scrimmage is pad level and which team's pads play lower throughout the course of the game. And, of course, when you're going against a bigger line, which Bishop Guilfoyle is, the way to combat that is to get down lower than them. And so far, so good. Now 3rd and 15. Stallworth. And he's not going anywhere either. 57, Maloney once again.
They shot Maloney inside quickly, and the thing of it is that they're going to take a look at him getting inside. Look at, he went right around his man. He was right around the center because he's the nose guard. He went right around the center and went right upfield and did a nice job of getting that tackle. That was a big play right there. He just outmaneuvered the center.
That's the 9th play in this game for the Guilfoyle defense that has been stopped for no gain or produced losses. And it brings out Hilton Jr. once again on 4th down. He's done a nice job. Gets it out. So that turnover will cost them, 50 yards of field position. They had the football in Farrell territory, a 31-yard punt. So rather than taking over or having it at the 40, you're now back at your own 20-yard line.
That's an awful lot of real estate to get going there when you haven't had that much success against this very, very tough defense. We talked about it, the shutouts that they had all year and how strong they've been. And, they've been living right up to that here today.
So 1st and 10. Motion man is Myrick. He gets it on the sweep. Boy, pretty close. Just couldn't pull away from Taden Strickland.
The thing of it is, you look at Strickland and you see the fact that he came up quickly, but the thing of it is Myrick's done a nice job of getting finally past that line of scrimmage and getting into the open.
Haven't been a lot of big plays for this Guilfoyle offense, and I mean in terms of length of the play. 21 yards on the completion to Myrick in that first quarter is the longest play from scrimmage that they have been able to produce.
That time a little option look by the quarterback does not bring a big gain.
Melvin Hobson, number 75 there on the stop. Hobson, he's a good one. Senior, 6'4", 305. He's getting some attention from folks like Pitt, Temple, Youngstown State.
Yeah, he's a good one. He's going to be able to get a lot. He's going to be able to name his ticket. Got great size. We talk about size all the time, 6'4", 305.
Toss to Myrick, trying to get to the outside, unable to get there. Brian Hilton Jr. establishing that edge and didn't let him turn upfield.
It's been a key factor. They've done a great job here in the second half of really adjusting and becoming better on that edge.
Guilfoyle riding a 7-game winning streak, lost in week number 7 to Richland Township 36-0. They were able to reboot and get things back. Go to the air and the pass on the money, but it was jarred free. Was looking for Nagola, defended by number 15, Amron Odom.
Did a nice job
Odom, excuse me.
Yeah, did a nice job of putting that on the money. Little fake inside and then a toss to the outside. But the thing of it is, if you haven't been able to catch the ball all day, it's another thing. You're not even used to catching the ball. It's a long time past warm-ups from pregame, so your hands are cold, your arms are cold. This is going to be a tough situation to get anything going with the pass.
No, that's the other factor. If you are able to throw something in the vicinity of a receiver, they've got a bunch formation to the top.
This is going to be an interesting call here to see if the offensive line moved.
Guilfoyle players were applauding
We have a dead ball, encroachment, defense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
I think it was 62, Evan Himes, who took that shot, a junior. That's taking one for the team there, isn't it?
Yeah, and they were trying to anticipate the snap count there and ended up going in there too early.
Had a little success on a middle screen in that first half.
That screen to the tight end wasn't too bad. That's the other thing you might want to see here.
3rd down, need 6, and they only have 1:21 left on the 3rd quarter clock. What a job he has done. Justin Wheeler, walk-on at Penn State University, graduated 1996. Play action, he's not going to get a chance. Coming off the edge, Brian Hilton with the sack.
They've done a poor job of covering those guys coming off the edge. Between Jackson and Hilton, they've had an opportunity to come in all day long. Here they were sending somebody out. See, to get a little bit of a brush block there by number 42, McCluskey, but not enough to take him out of the ball game.
Again, if you're just tuning in, injuries just forced the Marauders all year long to have a rotating quarterback scenario when as far as their 4th string in their passing game, certainly not the big reason they're in this championship game environment. This is a good catch, and we'll take a Bishop Guilfoyle roll. Devin Wyant, another guy, suffered a broken collarbone. A soccer player came on to kick a 20-yard field goal last week. Big reason they're here. 49-yard effort, and it comes at a great time for his team.
Same kind of punt that Hilton had in the first half. Very, very similar, almost from the same spot. Gets the same kind of roll and the same kind of opportunity to be in the wind and take it down the field.
So 35 seconds, and they'll flip the directions. And in the year for Justin Wheeler that it has been, to quote him, just a fight in every game we have played. They're going to really have to fight it in this 4th quarter. Again, this defense rising to the occasion. No running room as Brady Bithell, 6'5", senior.
Another big boy at 6'5", at 305.
Tell you the way their year has gone, mentioned their kicker was injured. Bithell kicked an extra point this year. He's 1 for 1, according to the stat sheet. They had to have a ball with that. He said, we were having auditions as the year went on for both quarterbacks and kickers throughout the entire season.
He had freshmen coming in, kicking field goals. He had everybody trying opportunities.
3rd quarter comes to an end. A scoreless 3rd quarter. Farrell 7, Bishop Guilfoyle nothing.
Packed with 9 essential nutrients, low-fat chocolate milk can be an important part of your recovery routine. Refuel with chocolate milk after your next workout.
Discover how great Pennsylvania manufacturers are with PCN Tours. Each episode is led by an expert who knows the company to give you an in-person experience with no script. Watch the original How It's Made. See what makes Pennsylvania a unique and exciting place to work and the opportunities it presents with PCN Tours. PCN, proud to bring Pennsylvania history and culture to you.
"12 minutes of regulation football remain in the Single A State Championship Final. Farrell Steelers 7-0 over Bishop Guilfoyle, and they will have the football just outside their own 25, faced with a 2nd down and 9.
See, they have Strickland in that backfield now, Mike. Use him as a blocker. They want somebody more to block to get to that outside corner.
Well, and that defense, boy, are they fired up. Just a great flow to that football. Initial contact met. There was a second Marauder there, and coming in to finish it off was Janishak, or make that, number 42, McCloskey.
Yeah, Johnson was there first. You're going to see him come up. Look at the contact they're making. They're getting the better of the hits right now, and that's the thing. They're wearing down Farrell when it comes to defense.
Do you risk putting the ball in the air if you're Farrell here? Leading 7-0. Raver is left alone in the backfield. Last time they did that, they ran him on a quarterback draw. And that's exactly what they're doing again, trying to bounce it to the outside, surrounded by a number of purple jerseys. Keegan Myrick up to make the tackle.
Impressive hit from him to come up that far. He's done a great job in this ball game offensively, but now he's coming up big on the defensive side. Take a look at how far he comes up, squares up the tackle, does a great job of keeping Raver inside the pocket.
Well, you know, Jim, you really have to be impressed. I know we talked about the weather, and it is certainly tough, but that is a beautiful one-on-one open field tackle.
You can't complain about tackling today. This has been an outstanding defensive ball game from both sides. The tackling has been tremendous.
Hilton in punt formation. Much better snap from center. They've got the block. It was 57 Maloney. Then picking it up and heading towards the end zone was Donahue. Special teams for the Marauders.
Well, they finally got the snap to go well, but then they didn't get the blocking to go well. You got to have both if you're going to be successful in special teams. And you're going to take a shot right up the middle. That's the thing. They had a lot of guys in position to make that block. That was very weak blocking on the side of Farrell that time, and it cost them dearly.
Ironically, Jim, that maybe have been the best snap from center on some of the punts, but the Marauders able to get in there with the block and now start 1st and goal from the 5. Full house backfield. Myrick counters to the backside, slips a defender in the backfield, but he's going to be thrown for a loss. Anthony Jackson was the first guy there to slow him down before Taden Strickland came in to finish him off.
Yeah, Jackson got that hand in there first, and that was the key, because I think if he doesn't get that hand in there, Mike, he had an opportunity to go into the goal line.
Connor Kiesewetter has the plays from the sidelines. 2nd down and goal. Extra blockers to his left. Myrick finds an opening, dives forward, spotted down at the 1.
They had Johnson back that time in the backfield to give him an extra block inside.
I don't know if this play's designed to go. This is good vision by Myrick. You saw the 2 lead blockers on the left side. They're looking to go left. The hole developed right. Myrick showing that good vision. And now 3rd and goal from the 1. Same set. Myrick this time left side to the 1, pushing forward. Touchdown, Bishop Guilfoyle.
You got a good push from McCluskey back there. Really did a nice job of getting him back of that pile and pushing it in.
Well, question for you. This is a team we mentioned they've been injured at that kicker position. They have 18 two-point conversions on the year and only 11 extra points. And it looks like it's going to be an extra point attempt. Devin Wyatt, the young man we talked about, 6 for 7 extra points on the year, 2 for 2 field goals, including that 20-yarder last week. Nothing to gimme here. Kick is perfect. And we are tied at 7 and a marker out, as it looked like there was action around the kicker Wyatt, and I believe it's going to be roughing the kicker as well.
Yes, it is. Yeah, he's going to be roughing the kicker. They're going to be right here as he gets rolled on at the end. That's going to be taking place on the kickoff. So momentum changes with the big turnover. We talked about turnovers all game long. Special teams were going to be the situation, and a block punt creates an opportunity for Bishop Guilfoyle to put it in the end zone.
We have running into the kicker.
We're going to take a look at it here. He gets one step and it's blocked. Great job with the block and then coming up with the football. And again, 3 plays, 5 yards, a 1-yard run by Merrick to put it away, with McCluskey doing a good job of pushing there. You see McCluskey pushing from the backside. Did a good job helping him getting in.
How about the year Jack Donahue's having number 74? He's got a couple interceptions, the fumble recovery. That evens up the turnovers. Well, not really a turnover. That's a block kick. That's a special teams play there. But both teams, as we mentioned, great in that statistics, and kudos to Bishop Guilfoyle. You got the sense as the game was wearing on that their special teams, trying to zero in on that, found a way, Jim, to produce some points here in this football game.
Well, everybody was worrying on the Farrell sideline about the snap, and the snap, as you said, was probably the best one of the game, and it was a breakdown in blocking that really caused them to have that block take place.
You talked about it earlier, Justin Wheeler in his 9th year. Those 3 wins in 2014, 2015, and 2016. All undefeated football teams and superbly talented. This group just a bunch of grinders. And boy, we're seeing that here. I mean, this has been an uphill battle this entire game.
Absolutely, for them, it's been an uphill battle. They trailed Lackawanna Trail 7-6 at the halftime last week, and they forced 3 turnovers in that second half, and they had an opportunity. They were under the gun right at the end of the game last week when Trail took 3 pass attempts and finally got sacked before that game was over. So this team has lived on the edge all year.
Justin Wheeler trying to get something. Trying to get someone's attention. Tatum Strickland, Jaden Harrison are standing at about their own 20. Jim, I don't know that they're still too far back.
That wind is showing no signs of letting up. You can see it on both goalposts and an American flag. It has not let up one bit through this entire football game.
Yeah, Farrell's got 9 of their 11 players bunched up within 10 yards. I don't know if they're not thinking of some kind of squib kick, and that's exactly what it comes. Anthony Jackson. But a flag out, and I think this is fortunate that Guilfoyle may have been offside here.
We have a dead ball, encroachment, kicking team, 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
Yeah, Jackson fielded that so cleanly. That's not the way Justin Wheeler and the staff wanted that to work out. That may have been a break for them.
It is, because he called Height over, and he's talking to him now. That's not what he wanted to see happen.
.9:05 remaining fourth quarter. 2 teams that played low-scoring games last week. Steelers winning 13-10 over Clareton. Bishop Guilfoyle winning 11-7 over Lackawanna Trail. This one, a line drive, is mishandled. Still winds up in the hands of Anthony Jackson. And will be brought down at the 40. You guessed it, number 42, Zach McCloskey.
Good field position here again for Farrell, so we'll see what they can do with it as Jackson is slow to get up off the ground.
Let's go, offense! Jack! Come on, Melvin!
Farrell has 1 first down in this half. That, of course, operating into the wind. This will be the opportunity now to work with it as an advantage. Handoff to number 9, Jaden Harrison. And success to the tune of about 8 yards.
Well, this is going to be the thing right now. If you're Farrell, you're really doing a number on that offensive line. You're saying, you got to be able to open up some holes for us here. We got to be able to move the sticks. We got to be able to get some first downs here.
Again, it is Harrison. First down yardage and about 2 more until they spot him out of bounds as they move the football into Guilfoyle territory.
Harrison gives you a little bit more of the speed effect, obviously. That's why they call him lightning. So the thing of it is, he gives you that more of that outside effect. He got to the outside very, very quickly and then turned it upfield as he was getting a little bit of a block upfield by number 5 there, Omar Stewart Jr., the son of the defensive coordinator.
Farrell rushed for a season-high 476 yards in a win against Maplewood in Week 11. They go back to Stallworth. Couldn't get around that outside. Andrew Janaszak, number 1, the defensive end. Still turned it upfield for a gain of about 3.
Those seal blocks on the end are the key. They've had a hard time, obviously, keeping Janaszak out, number 1. We talked about him all day, and Jackson on the other side. He's been a penetrator all afternoon as well. So they're trying to get to that edge, but it hasn't been successful so far.
Farrell rushing attack topped 400 yards on 3 occasions this year. 407 against Mercer, 433 against Tussey Mountain, and free is Harrison. Chopped down as he gets to the 30. There is Myrick once again, who's been everywhere for the Marauders.
That time you saw where the speed takes place. He saw a little bit of a crack and took it right up through the middle. Watch it right here. He was going to go to the outside, then looked inside and saw that big hole, that big opening up through there.
Well, your concern here too, and I'm sure for Justin Wheeler, is we talked about his concern about the size of that front. It really becomes evident when you get into these fourth quarter scenarios as a flag out on the play blows this play dead. It's going to be against Farrell.
False start, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, again, we see another penalty. Neglect drives that were on first down. So now, again, starting from that 1st and 15 opportunity, which isn't really good when you just run the football.
Put the clock in motion now, under 7:20 remaining. Fourth quarter. First down and 5. This handoff is to Anthony Jackson, and Jackson's going to be spun around for no gain. Jackson has carried 21 times on the year, 305 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think that's his first carry of the game, as Farrell's going to commit another penalty.
Yeah, they get called for holding here, Mike, and this is going to be a big one.
Yeah, holding, offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot, repeat first down.
That's 8 penalties, 65 yards against the Steelers here in this game.
It's going to set up a 1st and 27.
And that was the first carry of the game for Jackson. Leaves the football back to the 47-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 27. And another play for a loss. So much for that wearing down the defensive front, huh? Adrian Johnson, number 50, leading the charge.
The thing of it is, they're getting penetration right away inside. And it just seems like Farrell's a little too slow off the ball, Mike. It doesn't look like they're firing off the ball. And that's in all aspects. That's in the running backs. That's in the linemen. It just seem to be like they're getting too slow off the ball. And the thing of it is, Guilfoyle is really doing a good job of pinching from the ends with number 1, Janaszak, and then doing a good job with Johnson on the inside.
10th play defensively for the Marauders that have produced no gains or a loss for their defense. 2nd down, trying to set up the pass and barely got it away. He was looking for Stallworth. That turns out to be a heads-up play there by Raver, who was in a ton of trouble all the way back inside his own 35.
They're trying to set up a little screen here over the middle, I think, but the thing of it is, he really didn't have the time to get anything done, as there was 3 Marauders in on him right away.
Now 3rd down. They need to get the football to the 20-yard line. And at this point here, you're hoping if you're the Steelers to just pick up something positive, give you the opportunity to go for it on fourth. And they are looking for a bunch, and the throw is nearly caught. Right on the money into double coverage.
Hilton had a step, but he just couldn't get the ball to get in his hands at the end. That was a great pass. Excellent pass by Raver. And he laid it right where he needed to lay it. Look at, you're going to see it right here. He just lays that one right where he needs to. And you see Hilton had a step. He had the step. He got the ball in his hands, just couldn't hold on to it.
He'll replay
that. Was a gutsy call, Mike.
He'll replay that. I like the call. What the heck, you're third and forever. You know, a lot of teams will try and chunk and maybe get 10 or 15 of that. They were able to get a man behind the defense.
Now we have a different.
We do have
different punter.
Different punter.
Because I think Hilton got hurt on that play. This is going to be Christian Hartley as punted, and a nice job of getting that ball out of there.
Good job. What a good job by Hartley. Hartley was a young man who played some quarterback earlier this year. Step aside, 5:53 to go. We're going down the stretch in a 7-7 football game.
Since 1934, PSECU has given Pennsylvanians financial opportunities to live a better life. We are a credit union who offers valuable free and low-fee financial products, broad lending options, and outstanding money management for financing life. At PSECU, we are proud of who we are and committed to who we serve because our Pennsylvania roots run deep. We are banking on a difference. Visit PSECU.com to join us. This credit union is federally insured by the National Credit Union Administration, Equal Opportunity Lender.
This is an education rooted in hands-on learning. It's attending school while getting experience in the field. It's a public K-12 education on your schedule. This is Commonwealth Charter Academy, and this is how schools should work. CCA is an online public school available at no cost to all Pennsylvania families. Learn how Commonwealth Charter Academy can work for your family at ccaeducate.me.
PCN brings you the PIAA Championships in a variety of sports. From the field to the pool and the court to the track, PCN brings you the best Scholastic teams competing on the state's biggest stage from all the best angles. With multiple cameras, instant replays, and professional commentary, we take high school sports and elevate them to new heights. Watch on cable and the PCN app. PCN, proud to bring Pennsylvania sports to you.
Battle for the 1A championship continues. 7-7 game. Guilfoyle with the football just inside their own 20. Myrick takes the direct snap and fights as he has all afternoon long for a couple of yards before being upended by number 75, Melvin Hobson.
Gain of 3 will make it second and 7.
You know, certainly about ball security, Jim, and the big thing here for Guilfoyle is, you know, again, operating into that win, try and pick up a first down or two and just get yourself into position where maybe you can take a shot at winning this game. Certainly overtime looms as a major possibility in this contest. On second down, Myrick.
Again, they're crashing those ends. They're doing a good job of keeping that ball inside those lanes is what they want to do. As again, you're going to see a good job coming off the corner there that time by Hilton. He did a nice job coming off that corner.
Well, it's just, and Steve asked Coach Wheeler at half, how do you create offense out of this? And, you know, you use some misdirection, but it's just so tough in this day and age to generate. When you become one-dimensional, which basically both teams have been here this afternoon, it's so tough. I mean, you give those defenses that opportunity to crowd that line of scrimmage. Hasn't been a whole lot of running room. Faced now with a third down. Try to go to a sweep, and Myrick's unable to outraced the defense. Number 26 was there in waiting, Savion Thomas.
Boy, he's had a great afternoon, hasn't he, Mike? He's made some really good plays at pivotal times in this ball game. He slithers inside again. He does a great job when he's in there of getting inside between those cracks and getting into the backfield.
Well, back into punt formation, Cameron Maloney. Maloney, the starting nose tackle. How many nose tackles do you know have punted? And this one, end over end, it's going to bounce back towards Guilfoyle.
Good attempt there.
15-yard punt.
By Maloney. Nice job.
So Farrell will start from the 35-yard line. 3:46 to go in regulation.
The Steelers one play away from breaking this open. This is the thing. They've been running that ball to the outside, getting some effect, but not getting that full effect where he can cut it back and go upfield. They're one play away from being able to put that into motion.
Well, I'm wondering with Hilton able to get a step on the defense there, if it doesn't at least cross your mind.
Give it another shot.
Absolutely. Keep it on the ground, Harrison. 3 yards on first down. Yanishak.
You see, the thing of it is, again, with that contain has been the key all afternoon. Good job again by Yanishek to hold contain and get him to push that ball inside up that lane.
And he gets a piece of the tackle as well. Same play. And this one with not the same. There's Keegan Myrick once again. What a football game this young man has played. Myrick listed at 6 foot, 161 pounds. He is one of those 18 juniors we referenced, and putting on quite a show on both sides of the football this afternoon.
And he's got great speed because he's coming from deep in that backfield. He's deep in that defensive backfield and come up to make these plays sometimes.
Lost back to the original line of scrimmage where it'll be third down.
I'm going to call a timeout here with Bishop Guilfoyle. I don't think Coach Wheeler liked the defensive set he was in.
This is the third time in the game that Farrell will have a chance to start in Bishop Guilfoyle territory. First time was at the 22 after the fumble recovery. They scored or after the interception, we scored a touchdown, and then after the fumble took over in the 49. But then they wound up fumbling, and then this drive here, we'll see where it takes us. Animals, tractors, square dancing. See it all and more with PCN's Farm Show coverage this January. Get more at PCNTV.com on cable and streaming. Taking flight, Mr. Wills.
Yes, the Farm Show. As you can see, everybody in that Farm Show mode. PCN does a great job with that every year.
What an effort by these young men here this afternoon. I tell you, this weather is not conducive to being outside at all, let alone trying to play football and protect the football and try and win a state championship. And both teams still with that hope alive. Farrell faced now with third down and 10. Hilton is split to the wide of the formation. He's the guy that got some separation. They go to an option near side, and Stallworth's going to be thrown for a loss. It is Keegan Myrick again.
I was going to say, guess who came up? But they put him out in that outside linebacker position, and then all of a sudden, they did a great job of really getting off their blocks, and Myrick gets up there first. And as I said, Mike, Farrell's just a little bit slower getting into those positions, those plays just a little bit slower getting going. And I'll tell you what, this guy has done a great job of recognizing all of he needed to recognize here this afternoon.
And what a great job of coaching. That's the first time they ran that play all afternoon, and Guilfoyle was right there and where they needed to be. They have nobody back here to field this punt.
And Hartley is still back punting this time. Hilton is not.
They're able to get it out end over end, and the wind will easily drive it through the end zone. So Guilfoyle holds 37-yard punt, but it'll come out to the 20, 145. Each team has 2 timeouts remaining in the football game.
Question is, do they take a chance and put it up in the air, Mike, in that wind? That's the big question right now. If you're looking at the Marauders, are they just going to try to pound it and play to overtime?
It'll be Myrick on first down. Certainly their goal here, I mean, you'd have to, if you're Coach Wood, don't you have to be thinking overtime here, and a first down would probably get you there. They have, if you're Farrell, 2 timeouts to stop the clock. Neither team using a timeout here. Thought maybe Farrell might use theirs to try and at least force them into a punt, but it apparently now both coaches have their minds on an extra session. Myrick weaving his way, and now they will use that timeout. Have to at least make them try and punt.
Well, again, you got a lot of options. If they make them punt, you could have a bad snap, you could get a block punt. A lot of things could happen, so you want to get them to that punting situation.
Talked about Bishop Guilfoyle and their great success in this tournament here, but their boys basketball team has 4 state championships, 1930, 37, 1967, 1970. Their girls programs were dominant for a stretch. 6 titles, 1984, 91, 93, 2007, 2009, 2010. Of course, the football program a perfect 3-0 in championship games, winning those 3 straight, beat Clairton 1918 and 2014. This Farrell program 35-0 in 2015, and Clairton again 17-0 in 2016. 16-0, 16-0, and 15-0. Barely getting the handoff there as they tried to get it to McCloskey. It was Anthony Jackson who was almost there to take the handoff.
What did I tell you about Jackson's afternoon? He's just been tremendous getting in there inside so early, so often, and they spotted that play happening real quick, and he was there very, very quickly.
Jackson, 14 game totals, got a run earlier, 67 tackles. He's recorded a couple interceptions, a couple of fumble recoveries.
As of the end of the third quarter, he had 5 tackles this afternoon.
Let's go down on the field. Steve Degler. Steve, you didn't get blown away yet, huh?
Not yet. It's getting a little worse here, believe it or not.
Don't tell me that.
You were talking about Guilfoyle and Clairton and their meetings in the state finals. Well, there's a lot of history between Farrell and Clairton as well, too. Preeminent programs in the state of Pennsylvania in Class A. They have met in the state tournament 5 times in the last 12 years. The first 4 times, the Bears came out victorious, and they have won 4 state titles. Well, last week it was Farrell's turn to get the victory, and Coach Anthony Pegee said, we had a lot of guys on the sideline who lost to them before. He said, not many of them gave us a chance to get back here after all we lost last year. It's been satisfying to prove them wrong, and they went through a pretty good team to get back here looking for back-to-back titles.
Yeah, for sure, and it's always tough to rebound after those emotional games, and they've just done a terrific job to re-energize and refocus. That's a tough part of winning this state championship, to continue that momentum and get by those emotional wins and re-energize yourself. Jim, I think both coaches here and there probably have done a terrific job. I mean, this has been an epic battle. I know it's not, what people like in this day and age, but this has been some hard-fought football game.
No question about it. And both teams, you look on the other side, the Marauders had to get by Juniata Valley 4 times in the past 5 years in their semifinal game. So the thing of it is, teams have really strongholds, and boy, I'll tell you, they've really shown their grit here today with the defensive side of the football. These guys have put on a clinic that you can watch defensively.
It's going to be interesting to see what Farrell does here. They open up with three receivers to the left. I mean, they have shots here at the end zone if they want to take them. Play blown dead before the snap.
We have a dead ball, delay game, offense, 5 yards, still first down.
It just is, I mean, as tough as it has been to move the ball on the ground here, I wouldn't be surprised to see Farrell take some shots here. There's only 45 seconds. They're out of timeouts. Guilfoyle still has 2 remaining, but now it's 1st and 15.
He wanted to go to a little middle screen there to Bryce Butler in the middle. That's what he was looking for that time. See if he's going to go back to that. Yeah, there it is right there. He's going to go to that middle screen. Got a great block on the outside.
This is Bryce Butler. The run after the catch going to be good for close to 20 yards. And a Clareton first down.
What a block he got from Jaden Harrison. Watch Harrison just flatten his man. There he is, number 9. Take a look at it. He flattened his man, got him on his back, got him an opportunity to get way down the sideline.
20 yards on the reception, moves the ball to the 25-yard line, just inside of it. 37 ticks remaining.
Wouldn't be surprised if they go that same screen to the other side.
Well, they've got that same formation to this side, and now Guilfoyle calls for and will use one of their final 2 timeouts.
And I think that's exactly why Coach Wheeler called that timeout. He said you got to be aware of where Butler is at all times now because of the fact of what happened on that screen before.
2019 state football championships are underway. There are 3 representatives from District 7. 2 districts have 2 teams, District 12 and District 2, and there are 5, District 1, 3, 4, 6, and 10, with 1 entry here. And of course, we talked about Wyoming area, Avonworth, and Cheltenham making their first appearances this year. Jim, this is the 4th year for the 6 classifications, and when you talk 3 programs able to get here for the first time, that's exactly what Dr. Bob Lombardi and all of the PIAA officials wanted. They wanted opportunities for other programs and other teams, and we're seeing that happen this year.
Yeah, that's why they went to the 6. It's a classification situation where there's more opportunities for more people to experience the football championships, and it's been successful since they went to the 6 classifications. Got that same formation here with the trips right.
Butler again is the middle of the 3 receivers to the right side. Raver, the quarterback, now sets with the call.
He may go deep to the other side of the field, and that's what he's looking at. Oh, he's going to the middle.
Looking over the middle and was off the mark looking for Jaden Harrison. Harrison is tied for the team lead in catches with 19. 102 yards and 2 TDs. Just to reiterate our point on, even without the weather and the wind, these are 2 teams that run the football throughout the course of the year.
I think he's going to take a shot to Hilton down that sideline again. He's in single coverage on the outside. I think that's the way they're going to look. They're going to try to get him deep in that secondary.
34 seconds to go, 2nd down and 10. Raver, pump fakes. And then now scrambles, and they're going to bring him down. Adrian Johnson, number 50, 5.5 sacks on the year, adds another, and they cannot stop the clock. Farrell hustling back to the line of scrimmage.
They're going to be offsides. Hilton didn't make it back in time.
Hilton never got back on the line of scrimmage, and that'll stop the clock with 14 seconds.
On that last play, they tried to send Hilton across the middle of the field, but a good job of coverage by Cooper Rother there that was right with him.
Encroachment, offense. 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Anthony Pegues, talked about it earlier. Newly appointed athletic director at the school. He's in his 3rd week.
Bishop Guilfoyle, last 1.5.
As the AD there. Final timeout used by Guilfoyle. Head football coach. He's the head of maintenance. He was the quarterback on a 1995 state championship team. On the other side, Justin Wheeler, 3 times the coach of the year in the single A classification. Winning streak would carry on to 59 games into the district championship game the following year before they were finally eliminated. Most prolific run in the school's history. What an effort by both these teams. I mean, we use this line, Jim, and I know I say it, it's a shame for one of these teams to not be rewarded with a state championship, but really, that to be a part of something like this, you have to feel that you're a better person when you walk out. I know it's going to be tough for the team that doesn't hoist that gold ball, but they have fought their hearts out here this afternoon.
No question. It's been a great job of fighting on both sides of the field, and now I think Coach Wheeler called that timeout because he wants to get double coverage on that right side of the field because he knows they're going to take one shot, only 10 seconds left. They're probably going to go deep on that right side, and he wants double coverage over there.
Raver has thrown 13 touchdown passes on the year. He's looking for number 14. They're not going to get it off in time again, are they?
No, what happened is Odom went into his stance and made a movement from that wide receiver position.
False start, offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
And again, I don't want to make excuses for people, but the enormity of the situation, the conditions that Steve has documented all afternoon, I mean, this is a tough deal to try and keep your mental focus, trying to run a play maybe here to win a state championship.
Well, they have Odom split to the left side again. Hilton to the right.
Blitz of 5. Raver fires, launches downfield, and it is nearly caught. Got it on the hands of number 15, Odom.
And that's why I said they wanted to roll that double coverage to that side because they knew they were going to take a shot. See, he's got that single coverage right there, but he was really fortunate that he got turned around right there. Rothwell, almost the catch was made.
Another good effort there by Raver. He had it in a position where his guy could make a play on it.
Hey, Raver's thrown some good passes down in that direction, Mike.
Well, and this goes all the way back to the coin toss in this game. To have the decision to get the football here in the fourth quarter with the wind at your back. One more shot. Time expires. And the throw over the middle will fall incomplete. No flags on the play. The Single A championship game will go to overtime. We're going to keep it right here at a windswept Hershey Park Stadium. Each team able to scratch out 7 points.
Well, in that last play, they went to Hilton. Across the middle.
Your overtime rules in Pennsylvania. The coin toss to determine offense or defense. You win that toss. Usually teams want to play defense first. Each team then receives a possession starting at the 10. The team's possession ends on a score, missed field goal, or turnover, or downs, or possession. Each team receives one charge timeout per offense or defensive series. If the score remains tied at the end of the first overtime period, the procedure is repeated. So here we go. I would think we're going to play at the right end zone. That's number one. I'm going to be surprised if anybody wants to go play offense into this win.
That would be a very, very surprising factor if somebody took that other end zone. You're right.
And now what takes place, Jim, is all the officials meeting right at midfield, each team huddled around their respective coaches and going over what we just discussed right there. And that's the conversation that is happening right here, how we want to handle things and how we want to move forward with it. Guilfoyle getting their touchdown on a blocked punt, setting them up inside the 10-yard line. Farrell's touchdown coming after a turnover gave them possession inside the 25. And figured it was going to be that kind of game.
With these two defenses, this might come down to the kickers again, Mike, as we talked about. There's the big first turnover that we saw early in the ball game, created the opportunity for Farrell to get themselves deep down to sideline and close to the 1-yard line, and then the 1-yard plunge to put it in. But that turnover was the effect of how it happened. And then the block punt, the second turnover. That turnover caused an opportunity for number 74, Jack Donahue, to pick it up, and then an opportunity to get inside to the 1-yard line, and then another good effort inside when the 1-yard line with a good pitch push from McCluskey to get into the end zone.
I'm going to correct something I said earlier. Guilfoyle had only fumbled one time, while you're actually 10 on the season, but still a rarity for a team that has done such a great job of taking care of the football this year. Actually, no, it was one fumble. They lost one fumble, 8 turnovers, so a big key to their success, but certainly the conditions indicating and dictating that it was much more difficult here this afternoon. So 2 teams that have slugged it out will go to overtime to determine a state champion. A couple of numbers to think about while they invite the captains out to midfield. Stallworth has rushed 24 times for 108 total yards. Harrison, 11 for 76. Raver, 11 for 14. Hammonds, 1 for a yard. Raver's completed 2 of 8 attempts for 14 yards. On the other side, Guilfoyle Merrick, what a game. He's 27 carries. 27 tough carries, 63 yards. He has scored their only touchdown. McCloskey, 8 carries, 14 net yards. Kizuwetter has carried it 4 times, minus 13 yards his total. He's completed 2 of 4, has suffered the interception. Had that one big completion in the opening half. Led to 31 yards, 21-yarder that was. It's been sacked a couple of times. Myrick and Fox have their only receptions. Tackle-wise, Myrick has 7 to lead the way for Bishop Guilfoyle. McCloskey, Janishak, and Rother with 6.5, 6, and 5.5. And Anthony Jackson and Ravenscraft leading the way with 6. Let's go down to the coin toss here in overtime.
Yes, sir.
No. So which end of the field do you guys want to play on? Your choice. Okay, you want to play on that end of the field?
It looked like they were looking Farrell's way as if they had won the toss. I think Farrell won the toss here. We didn't get it exactly, but Farrell, I believe, has won the toss.
We make our stop.
And elected to play defense. Let's see if we get an announcement with it. And it looks like, Jim, they do want to play. Guilfoyle choosing, obviously going to be on offense first, and they did choose to go into the wind.
Interesting decision.
So Guilfoyle going to get the football first. Boy, and we have seen it time and again. That second team to get the football has so many options that they can control in terms, of going for 2 and a win. Do we see that play out here? First things first is each team going to try the end zone, try and find the end zone, which has not been easy to do.
As I said, this is where the Farrell defense gets so very, very tough inside that 10-yard line. Their red zone defense has been superb all year, so this is going to be a classic matchup.
So Farrell did indeed win the toss. And will play defense first, which is the norm in these overtime. And a lot of folks don't like these overtime rules in terms of some of the things that can play out with it. So it'll be Guilfoyle first and goal from the 10 in our first overtime period.
They're going to go with that heavy package. They have the big guy in there to block.
Johnson and McCloskey are those 2 big guys you reference. And they haven't wavered off of it. Interesting conversation we had with Coach Wheeler, and we're talking about this kind of style. And there have been some folks that have asked him, why don't you change and get to this spread attack that is so common now among a lot of the programs? And, simply put, he said, we're from a part of the state of Pennsylvania that doesn't have great weather for throwing the football. And if you're going to win a state championship, you have to learn to be able to score in these kind of conditions. Here is Myrick taking a direct snap, but the play blown dead.
Once again, Johnson was in the backfield. Johnson 6 foot, 205.
False start offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Came down to a nail-biter last week for Bishop Guilfoyle.
Last 4 plays last week as well, as you said, Mike. So they're used to going down to the edge.
Hustle up to that line of scrimmage. Myrick takes the direct snap. And a scrum pushing towards, they're going to spot him down at the 6-yard line where it'll be third down.
And 52 on the bottom of that pile, Dwight Ravenshaft. He's been doing a very good job with 6 tackles at the end of the game, so he's been in on a few more here in the overtime.
Play clock's down to 10. Certainly cannot afford another 5-yard penalty here. Play clock now at 4. You get an extra timeout, and I believe Guilfoyle's going to use it.
Timeout, Farrell.
No, it was Farrell that may have saved them. That play clock was getting dangerously close. 7-7, we're in overtime if you're just joining us. Bishop Guilfoyle, the District 6 champions.
Devin Wyatt 2 for 2 on field goals on the year, so he went down to get himself ready, so it's an opportunity there.
Thanks to Bob McCool, dialing up some stats here. Last overtime game in the Single A championship came in 2013. North Catholic beating Old Forge 15-14. North Catholic, the District 7 rep, Old Forge out of District 2. 2013, last time we were in overtime here in the Single A championship game. We have Myrick now in position to take the direct snap. Kiesewetter, the quarterback, is split in the receiver position to the right of the formation. That is Hayden Fox sliding along, and they're going to throw the ball, and it is in and out of the hands of Andrew Janaszak. The wind affected it again, Jim. It just held it up in the air. It took forever to get to Janaszak, and the defense recovered in time to knock it away.
Yeah, no question that it was a small pass, but look at it, it takes a long time to get down. It's almost like a punt coming down, and by that time got the opportunity for number 7, Bryce Butler, to come in there and knock that ball away.
So the kicker, Devin Wyatt, talked about it earlier, missed part of the year due to a broken collarbone, kicked a 20-yard field goal last week. This one, 23 yards, and it's blocked. Coming off the edge was number 12, Brian Hilton Jr. to get the block.
Hilton did a great job of extending the body out there on the edge. 6'2", used all of it to come off that edge. Look at, he was not even blocked as he comes off that edge and does a great job of getting it with the hands. Couldn't ask for anything better as he came off that corner. Timed his jump perfectly.
Hilton, 6'2", 175. Phenomenal year, 6 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks, and perhaps the play of his career in a Farrell Steelers uniform.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's part of the Farrell basketball team as well. I might not be right, but the guy that can jump like that and the things that he's done here today, I would definitely think he's part of that basketball team as well. Actually be moving a little gingerly there, though, on the sidelines.
Oh, so Farrell now with an opportunity to win. Touchdown wins it, field goal, any kind of score. And by no means a gimme here, Jim, that they find the end zone. Start from the 10-yard line.
One of the things we haven't seen out of them this afternoon is that full house backfield with them, with the quarterback running the ball. They're still going to try to chip that edge. I can see it again.
Stallworth's lined up in a wildcat. Forward progress as he winds up breaking through, but well after the whistle had blown. Forward progress is going to be marked at the 8-yard line.
Correct snap up the middle. 8-yard line.
Boy, what a call on third down. They'll be replaying that one. Bishop Guilfoyle, that wind just held that. They had what they wanted. And the wind just floated that football on him. Stallworth again. To the 5.
They're getting a good push on that right side, especially with those two guys they have set back. But the thing of it is, they need a bigger push here because this is a strong 5 to get into the end zone. Jaden Harrison in the shotgun right now.
And Harrison gets a direct snap. Rolling to his right. Hit at the 5, and that's right where he will stay. It'll bring up 4th down.
Couldn't get that corner to go. Jackson tried to get a block on the outside, couldn't get that to go. But again, Andrew Yanishak out there, number 1. What a great afternoon that young man has had.
Now what do you do if you're Farrell? And it looks like they are, Coach Pegues flat out admitted with us, we're not great when it comes to the kicking end of things. And wouldn't it be ironic for it to come down to that? And they're going to line up. It looks like it is Hilton who is on to attempt. He's 22 of 34 for extra points. Do not have him for a made field goal on the year.
Timeout Marauders as they're going to try to ice him. He's walking really gingerly still too, Mike. It'll be interesting to see if he can make this, swinging that leg. He's really holding that leg as he's been walking back to the huddle, and this is going to be a big play for him.
Jim, you always have to have a little giggle when we talk to these teams that score 38, 40, 45 points.
You're right.
They never kick field goals. Don't
Never.
worry about extra points.
Yep.
Wouldn't it be something for Farrell for this to come down? My stats that I was provided, Hilton has not attempted a field goal on the year. He's 22 of 34 on extra points, so not a given there as well, and this obviously going to be a little longer than what an extra point would be.
And again, kicking into a wind that is really still whipping.
Football's going to be spotted at the 12. It'll be a 22-yard attempt.
Looks like Hartley's the holder. Yes, he is. Hartley's the holder. This has a lot of moving parts. Again, the snap, the hold, and the kick. It looks like he's a straight-on kicker too, Mike.
Brian Hilton from 22 yards to win the single A state championship. Kick is up, it is high, wind has a hold of it, and it is barely good. Finds its way through the uprights, and Farrell will repeat as a state champion.
Well, how appropriate for a game that, as Bob McCool said at halftime, it looks like it was in black and white. A straight-on kicker kicks and a field goal to win the football game.
Jim, when that football finally came down, it was coming back. It was coming backwards.
I've seen fair catches that were easier than that, the way that ball hung up in the air.
Ball shot straight up in the air, and obviously the disappointment on the other end.
What a way to lose, you're right.
We knew Mother Nature was going to have an effect. Farrell in overtime, 10-7.
They're good kids. Kind, compassionate, good listeners. But you take them out in public and they go completely bananas. I can't always keep them at home.
But you can feed them at home. With Wise to Go, we do all the preparation. You just take it home, heat it up, and dinner is served.
That's convenient.
That's Wise.
Eat better, spend less. That's Wise.
In 40 years, PCN has grown from an idea to promote education through cable into the nation's leading state public affairs network. With multiple streaming channels, and thousands of hours of original programs. From microwave to satellite to IP delivery, from analog to HD, from our humble beginnings to our Camp Hill home. Over 40 years, PCN has evolved to bring you the best our Commonwealth has to offer. PCN, proud to bring Pennsylvania to you.
Two teams showing great sportsmanship despite the disappointment for the guys in purple. What a hard-fought game. They had their chance. Gutsy call on third down, and again, it's just amazing how long that ball stayed up in the air, Jim.
Both balls up in the air.
Yeah.
Between the pass from Bishop Guilfoyle that was staying up in the air and finally got knocked down, to the kick that was up in the air and was up there forever and finally came down, and the winner.
Lebanon Valley College player of the game is number 12, Brian Hilton, the 6'2", 175-pound senior, had the fumble recovery that set up their first score in the first half. But boy, he was far from done. Had that 42-yard punt. No interference there, no roughing the kicker because that ball was partially blocked. And oh, by the way, he was tremendous on the defensive side of the football. Had the sack, kind of knew it was going to be, and then in overtime, the block off the edge.
He wasn't blocked whatsoever, comes right off that edge and makes that block happen. And then you're going to see the straight-on kick, which you don't really see too much anymore.
It's coming, folks. It's coming.
It finally comes down. You can tell how long they were waiting to see that ball come down.
Player of the game presented by Lebanon Valley College, listed number 1 in Pennsylvania for job placement. Lebanon Valley College will get your career ready. Visit the campus and find out why their students are so successful. Undergraduate and graduate programs available for traditional and adult learners. Visit lvc.edu.
You see a great scene right there as the winning kicker is embraced by his coach.
Back-to-back championships, matching the 95-96 teams that beat Southern Columbia. A win last year against Lackawanna Trail and this afternoon against Bishop Guilfoyle. These young men right here, Jim Wills, have nothing to be ashamed about.
No question about it. And Anthony Pegues puts his name in that record books, Michael, as a player and a coach to win a state championship.
Yes, he does. Steve Degler talked about it early. Eric Kasparovich, head coach at Pine Grove a couple of years ago, 2017, won as a player. North Hills as a quarterback in 93. Harold Fairclough, Central Catholic, 2010 as their head coach. His alma mater in 93, so he joins Coach Fairclough as the only two to do it at their alma mater as a player and a coach.
That's a pretty special thing. And there you see that championship trophy being hoisted by the Steelers.
First time that Guilfoyle will taste defeat in the championship game. Fourth win in the finals for Farrell. Against two losses, lost to Marian Catholic their first time here, and they atoned for that 2015 setback at the hands of Bishop Guilfoyle, but certainly didn't come easy here this afternoon.
It's a hard-fought defensive football game. If you like defensive football games, this is the tape you want to watch because there were some great hits, some tremendous tackling, and a very, very good defensive job on both sides. It's very rare that you can say you go into a ball game and say both defenses were outstanding.
Lost their first two games of the year and have now rattled off 14 consecutive victories to win a state championship. And we have told that story before, Jim. There have been a lot of programs that lose an opener, lose their first two, and come back and battle and put it back together and wind up winning the state championship.
Well, especially the way it's set up now, you get that opportunity a lot of times in your league to play two teams that are outside of your leagues. So you try to get the two best teams you have. We're going to see a team tomorrow. Southern Columbia played two great teams, one from South Carolina in the opening games of the year. So everybody tries to do that now, but they always come back and then run that string in their league.
Steve Degler with some comments from our winners here.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Start with Brian Hilton, who kicked the game-winning field goal. What did it feel like when it left your foot?
It felt like something I can't explain. I just gave it all I got, and good things came out.
Go back on defense on the first play of overtime when you blocked the field goal. What were you thinking coming off the edge there?
I just got to get the block. That's all I was thinking at that moment. So just gave it everything I got. Coaches told me go get the block. I had to go get it.
How tough of game was this between you and Guilfoyle today?
It was a very tough game. With the block punt they got against me, I had to make up for it. So yeah, they gave us some good competition.
I think you made up for it, more than made up for it. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Coach Pegues, one of the few to win it as a player and as a head coach. What does this mean to you?
Oh my gosh, it feels so good, especially for my seniors. It's not never about me. I know I did as a player and a coach, but it's never about me. It's always about these kids, and these kids putting this effort in, and it's all about them.
So which one's sweeter then, as a coach or as a player?
The player thing was so long ago. That's 20-something years ago. So I'm gonna say as a coach. We're right here in the present right now, so I'm gonna say as a coach.
Obviously, when they blocked the punt and scored, they had a lot of momentum. How much did you guys have to regroup at that point?
At that point, we had to group a lot. You know what I mean? The way this game was going, I knew defense was gonna hold us down, and like you said, I blocked punt, gave them the momentum, and they got in the end zone. I knew if we could just keep our composure and turn it over to the defense, we can win the game.
Your defense has been the story all year, and they certainly came through again for you today.
Yes, I'm going to praise Coach Omar Stewart once again. You know what I mean? That guy has the game plan, and he has those troops playing really hard, and defense wins championships.
Congratulations on this title.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Mike and Jim, back upstairs to you.
Steve, thank you very much. Jim's defenses certainly win championships in the state of Pennsylvania, and certainly being able to run the football as well. Just a hard-fought game here between two very good programs.
No question about it. There you see last year's coach Samuels, and he came down here to see if his guys could do it again, and he witnessed the field goal that won it for the Farrell Steelers.
Certainly hope you enjoyed it. Our 4A title game tonight at 7 o'clock. If you're watching us live, Thomas Jefferson and Dallas will have it for you live here on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Matt Hall helping to direct and produce along with Donnie Long. We dusted off Mr. Long to join us here on SEC TV2 as well. On behalf of Steve Degler, Jim Wills, Bob McCool, our halftime guys, for all of us here at the Pennsylvania Cable Network, congratulations to Farrell, your 2019 Single A champion. I'm Mike Zambelli. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you for more football later on this evening.